We're live.
Do you want to check the audio real quick?
Yeah, I'll check it. Now that I don't know, it's been 2 weeks. We should start to get back into our usual
it's just part of the
complacent
routine.
self. We trust at this point, right?
I don't know about that one.
We'll never trust again. Who hurt us? Streamlabs hurt us. That's who hurt us. Hey, at least, actually, I'm not going to, okay, I'll say it, but I'll knock on wood. At least we haven't just, not plugged something in a long time. That's big.
That is true.
Because those hurt. Yep,
Sound
we're great.
though. So I'm going to kick us off. What is up, team? And welcome back to another episode of the Technical Foul Podcast. All three of us are back after a Sanders solo show last Thursday. Good stuff holding down the fort, Sanders. But yeah, it's Monday afternoon, 2:30. Bit of an earlier show, but we got some stuff to get to this evening, so we figured we'd get in here and knock it out. And with that being said, how are y'all doing today?
Fantastic. My voice has fully recovered from the solo show on Thursday. That was not at all how I was expecting that to go down. I really thought I was going to get on here, press live, no one was going to show up. I'd talk for 20 minutes about whatever I wanted to and then get off. But I had in the back of my mind, I was like, I do want to do an 2027 mock draft with y'all, or it ended up being by myself, but I wanted to do that, and then I ended up just talking for 2 hours, which I was not expecting. And, dude, that is a blow to the voice. I do not know how Josh Pate does that every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday during the season, and every Tuesday, Thursday, or Sunday, Thursday in the off season.
Just something you have to train.
Off season.
Yeah, train.
The voice is like a muscle.
Yeah.
It's just something you have to train. It's something you can improve.
Yeah, and it's also, just like muscles, I guess some things are genetic, some people are just better at it.
His shows are also just typically about an hour long, right?
Yeah, they're shorter.
You doubled it, so that really is also part of it. But yeah, he's very much in the routine now of just talking for a living. Yeah,
and I was pretty pleased with my mental flow and keeping things coherent. I was also terrified that there was going to be a lot of awkward silences. Or I was like, okay, I'm going to look this up. Sets down microphone, types on keyboard for 45 seconds, and then gets back to the chat and to the show. But I think we kept things flowing pretty well. But other than that, I'm great. Got to go home this weekend, played angle ball, lost all 3 games, which is sad. Was not out of shape as I was expecting to be. Yes, Jack did beat me in all 3 games. Was not out of shape as I was expecting to be, so grateful for that. Have you seen the meme where it's like this guy who he doesn't work out, he just goes to the gym on the first day of every month, and if he can run a mile under 6 minutes, he doesn't work out that month?
I have not. I think maybe.
That's kind of how I felt. I
have seen that.
I was like,
It's just like a little wellness check. Almost.
Exactly. Like, I went out there and I did, it was 3 miles that I ran, and I felt pretty good for most of it.
Are you ready for Wednesday morning?
What's Wednesday morning? We playing again here?
It's reading day.
Heck yeah. Wait, that's 2 days from now?
Yeah.
Sure, I would have started sleeping in, storing up my energy and stuff. But, no, that was fun. And then was home this weekend and watched Mississippi State baseball some, but ready for another big weekend as Auburn comes to town. So, I'm great.
Yeah, they're a good team. Good luck. How you doing, JP?
I'm doing fine.
Glad to hear it.
Allergies still,
Yeah. Allergies were actually bad today and yesterday. It hasn't been a reoccurring theme. But they are bad today.
The stomach bug be gone?
Stomach bug be gone.
That's big.
We be chilling there.
Thankfully, as bad as the stomach bug is in the moment, it's not typically a long-lasting virus. It's kind of like a 24-hour in and out, at least in my experience with it.
It's actually kind of helpful. I feel like it should be something you could put yourself through.
It's like a little cleanse almost.
Yeah, cleanse. I lost 3 or 4 pounds.
Okay.
So I think something like that could
forget
really
a juice
help
cleanse, man. Give me the stomach bug.
The stomach bug cleanse. What was there was this book we used to read about all these kids who all had the same, I think, middle name. It was some book we read because we were homeschooled. And we'd also listen to the audiobook version. But anyway, it was set in the old West, old Midwest, I guess, Kansas, that area. And apparently parents would if one kid got the measles. Well, all right, send all the kids over to that house. They're all getting the measles, and we're getting it over with.
The Great Brain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What was the kid? Dennis? Was
No,
it?
the kid's name was not Dennis. I don't remember the kid's name, but it was the Great
But they
Brain.
all had the same.
It was. I think it was either the measles or maybe the mumps.
But they all had
And
the
if
same
some-
name, right? Like,
I don't think they all had the same name. I think you're
Hold
making
up.
that part up. But
No, I'm
maybe
not.
they-
Give me
like
just a sec.
Tom, maybe. But yeah, and they were in Utah. Is where it originated, or is where the story took place.
Tom T.D. Fitzgerald. I believe every kid had the middle initials T.D.
Well,
It-
yeah, maybe they have the same initials. But
Maybe that's what I was thinking of. When I was thinking the same name, I just knew they all had something in common. Tom Dennis, the Great Brain.
okay,
Dude.
Dennis, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But and I was right about it being Tom, so we were both right.
We were on the same page. John Dennis, Thomas Dennis. They all had the middle name Dennis. That's what it was. So it's Tom Dennis, John Dennis, Swin Dennis. Yeah. All right. There we go. Man, look
Cool.
at us cook. That was kind
Yeah.
of crazy.
They were good books. I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
Fun stories.
Yeah. But yeah, they would
Did you just read the one, or did you read multiple?
we read them all. We read, or a lot
I
of
read
them.
3 of them.
We read a lot
three
of them.
in person. But yeah, what a pool.
Wait, okay. Jack, how are you?
I'm pretty tired for some reason. I don't really know why. I think it's just like a late afternoon swoon.
Yeah, it's your
and
nap
I'll
time.
bounce back. But also at the same time, I'm doing great. The Spurs kick off round 2 tonight. Game 1. I can't wait for that. Lots of good stuff going on. Getting ready for a move. I think that's also part of the reason. I've been out and about a lot, and will continue to be out and about a lot until the end of May, basically. So busy month upcoming, but in a good way. Busy in a good way. But I'm doing great. Ready to get the show started. So if you want to take us away with your Mississippi State recap, Sanders.
Yeah,
by all means.
I'll kick us off with that. It's going to be shorter, because I did not watch all 3 games. And, well, I was about to say there's multiple reasons. That's the main reason is I didn't watch all 3 games. But with that being said, Mississippi State this week, nothing of note from football or men's or women's basketball that I can remember. I will confess that a lot of the times I'll see tweets like a basketball player committing, and then I'll be like, oh, I need to talk about this and forget. And I don't think we've had any commits.
I believe the guy from Washington State that flipped from Ole Miss
was that since last Monday.
Since last Monday.
Was that
the center or the big man?
Yeah, the big man from
I
Washington
don't
State.
remember his name.
Okafor is his last name.
That's what I was gonna say, but it didn't feel
Averaged
right.
about 11 points and 9 rebounds or something like that at Washington State last year. Was committed to Ole Miss
in the portal,
but flipped and signed from what I saw to State. It's
Did that not happen? Because I made the joke about if a guy, or maybe that was on Thursday. It's all kind of running together. But if a guy commits to your rival, they're chasing the bag. But if they commit to you, they're
making
committed.
that joke on Thursday because I was memeing that we didn't want Cam Coleman.
That's
anyway,
what it was. That's what
which
it was.
I really need to go check and see if anyone commented on that and took me as being serious in the moment.
I don't think they have. I
okay,
don't think
good.
there've been
Good.
any comments.
I don't need to go defend my honor. But yeah, that's definitely what you were talking about.
Well, once again, clearly this guy sees the culture fit, and he's not chasing a bag. If they go to your rival, they're chasing a bag. But he's coming here, which is exciting. He will likely be our center, or will be our center. But
he gets to step into some tiny shoes.
Fair. Women's basketball, nothing of note. Baseball goes 2-2 on the week. We beat Ole Miss, a top 25 opponent in Jackson for the Governor's Cup on Tuesday. And then this weekend we travel to Texas to take on University of Texas Austin. And they beat us game 1. We bounce back and win game 2. And then lose game 3. After going up 5-0 in the first, they bounced back and scored 9, I believe, in the third.
Shout out 9.
Shout out 9. So, yeah, just a weird weekend. And kind of, there's not really anything much to be said about this about the baseball team and their performance. There was places we didn't step out when we could have, places where we got screwed by umpires, specifically the bases loaded. Ace Reese, I think it was 2-2, 2 outs, and there was a ball that was 6 inches outside and 2 inches below the plate, and he called it a strike and struck Ace Reese out to end the inning, or to end the top of that inning, I suppose. And it was not a strike, which is really unfortunate. And who's to say that Ace Reese wouldn't have popped out or struck out the next pitch, but it does still sting to have your best hitter go down watching a ball that was clearly a ball. Not at all ideal.
Sure.
This weekend we will host Auburn, which is a bounce back opportunity. We're currently ranked number 11 via D1 baseball. And I would say pretty comfortably we'll host a regional. Super regionals is still up in the air. So
Probably take like y'all almost getting swept both these last 2 weekends to not host a regional.
yeah,
Something close to that result.
it would. But that would also depend. I mean, even if that happened, depending on what happened around the country, I wouldn't be
True.
entirely shocked for us.
You'll be playing 2 top 10 teams.
Yeah, 2 top 10 teams, and one of them's on the road.
Ideally, hopefully A&M doesn't go choke at Ole Miss this weekend.
Yeah. Softball goes 1-2, ranked number 19 via Softball America. I believe that is pretty much the end of any hopes we had to host because we went to Ole Miss, who's not a great team. They had like 6 or maybe 1 more than that conference wins. But we beat them on Friday, and then they come back and win Saturday, Sunday in Oxford, which was tough. Men's tennis goes 2-0. Hosted the first round of the NCAA tournament, the regionals, and then we will host Georgia for the super regional on Saturday. So that is, I think I had one more thing to say about, I want to say men's basketball, like earlier, but I don't remember what it was. Any commits? No commits. Other than the one we just mentioned.
I mean, On3 claims the portal class is
That's
really
what I was
good,
going to say, that the portal class is currently, On3 has it ranked as the 11th best portal class in the country.
which factors in people that left.
Departures, yep.
So,
Which
like,
we
the
did not
net
have any highly
gain
rated players depart.
is 11th best.
Yep.
In terms of value in compared to value lost.
Tolu's in the second round.
Tolu got playoff minutes.
He played in Game 7.
I was doing the hoops grid the other day, and the category was it was played in the 2020s and played in the 2020s, and I dropped Quentin Post, which was 0.05%, and then Jack dropped Tolu Smith, and it was a unicorn. It was the first and only time that player was mentioned. So I kind of sold by not going Tolu, but
Won't
for
be the
me,
last.
Quentin Post is like a more obscure player because Tolu played here for longer.
And Quentin Post, yeah.
And
like,
so Quentin
didn't
Post
really
is
play
like
here.
more obscure to me than
Did
Tolu
he
Smith.
redshirt here or just like not really play?
I think he redshirted, but I'm not
Gotcha.
positive. That is your Mississippi State update.
I do want to add, I think McPherson's supposed to throw another bullpen this week.
Yeah.
And is basically ready. But, I mean, that's really what it feels like this baseball team hinges on right now is does he come back?
Yep.
And when he comes back, does he still have the form he had pre-injury? Because it's getting rough trotting Duke Stone and Charlie Foster.
Duke
out
had a
there
good game on
back-to-back.
Saturday.
That's true. That's true.
We won on Saturday.
Really, it's getting tough to trot out Charlie Foster,
Yeah.
who still has yet to win a game, and it's largely because he can't even go 5 innings.
Yep.
So
It is tough.
that's all you have?
Yeah.
Cool. What a 180 from last week's.
Yeah. It's a lot
I mean,
more fun to
it's-
talk
yeah.
about wins than it is
It
losses.
makes perfect sense. I'm very sad just because, like, you know, I do like State, but then also I hate Texas, and I hate Texas more than I like State. But I was really rooting for State this weekend and couldn't really pull through.
Yep. It was tough. Where do we want to go? Round
Yeah,
one.
that makes perfect sense. Do the round 1 recap first, and then go into round 2. We just haven't talked NBA playoffs since last Monday, and so round 1 ended last night. There were 2 Game 7s yesterday, and I just want to talk about some bigger storylines coming out of round 1. Some teams that's their season ended, and what do they do next? Just kind of put a nice little bow on round 1. We're not gonna go through every series, obviously. And before we move and break down the round 2 series one by one, first thing I have the Magic. I have it listed as the Magic collapse. They're up 3-1 against the 1 seed, and everyone all of a sudden is like, "Wow, this Magic team is playing like we thought they could. The talent is very much there. Like I think they're gonna pull it off. I thought the Magic were gonna pull it off." And then Franz gets hurt, misses games 5, 6, and 7. In Game 6, it looks like that's not gonna matter. They're up about 20 at halftime before they proceed to score 19 points in the second half and have a stretch in the fourth quarter where they missed 23 field goals in a row. They only made 1 field goal in the fourth quarter, and it was a late Paulo dunk in garbage time, basically. So there's an absolute collapse in Game 6, and then it was like, hey, well, for Game 7, they're probably not even going to be able to get up off the mat. Like, that's pretty demoralizing. But Paulo comes out firing, they hang around for a while, and then Detroit at home runs away with it and sends the Magic packing. And then, to no surprise, the Magic announced this morning that Jamal Mosley is fired. So it kind of wraps up a very dismissed. Yeah. Apologies to Jamal Mosley. He wasn't fired. He was asked to leave. He was dismissed after 5 seasons and 3 straight postseason berths, but have not gone past round 1 yet. Just kind of thoughts on the end of the season for the Magic, thoughts on those final couple games, thoughts on Paulo, like what should they do moving forward. Anything. If not, I can keep rolling.
It was kind of worst case scenario that Franz didn't get to play in any of those final 3 games, and so you didn't get a chance to close. And so part of me thinks, well, maybe you have to run. Like, they haven't used this card yet where they just run back the same team and change the coach, and that seems to be working for. It has worked for franchises, at least in the 2020s. I think the Celtics ran it back with Udoka. The following year, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then the year after that, they won the ship with Joe Mazzulla, 2 years removed from losing to the Warriors in the finals. The Knicks, it's the book's still out there because they haven't gotten to the Eastern Conference Finals again. But
did the Pistons change coaches?
So far, they looked better. The Pistons
2 years ago, they did.
2 years ago, dismissed or fired Monty Williams when they'd won 14 games, and then JB Bickerstaff has taken them to the playoffs twice.
And that's with some of the same
essentially
roster?
the same roster, yeah. So it has worked for other franchises where just a change of voice can really help the team and maybe end up getting more out of the team. I also think it felt like that group was really connected to Jamal. I could see that from the way that Game 1 opened, where Jamal Mosley was literally holding back tears as Wendell Carter Jr. was hyping him up in the pregame, right before the Game 7, knowing this is pretty much the last ride if this is a loss. So it did feel like they were pretty connected to them. But at the same time, so were the Knicks last year, really connected to Tom Thibodeau, really liked Tom Thibodeau, had no bad words for him. So I think that's the easiest route because I don't know how easy it is to blow up this roster or to go out and acquire new pieces. Because when you trade 5 first-round picks for Desmond Bane, you lose all your draft capital. If you're going to trade away Desmond Bane, you trade away Franz or whoever, you're not going to get the same amount of draft capital back, and now you're just going to feel like you lost.
Yeah, it's definitely the easiest move, and it probably is most likely because you talk about the lack of draft capital. You kind of already made your additive move in adding Desmond Bane, and it didn't really work out, at least this year. And then also Paulo's contract, kicks in next year. You're already paying Suggs $30 million a year. Franz is making a lot of money, so it's not even like you can just go add someone in free agency. You don't have the money to do that. So if you made any sort of trade, you'd have to trade one of your good pieces away to hopefully get someone else good back. If you did want to, stay competitive, try and change fit, because that kind of is the one thing. It's I'm not really sure. I still love the Franz and Paulo fit together. As good as Paulo had some good games in this series, and I do really like Franz. They're both bigger guys that like to play with the ball, and neither of them are great floor spacers. So the fit there is weird. So maybe you would try and trade a Franz to get someone that fits better, but I don't expect them to because I don't think you're going to find the person out there that fits better. Realistically, I think you are kind of stuck, and you kind of have to let it ride at least one more season to see what happens. Because season was a disappointment. Obviously, the front office believes that. They fired their coach. We've already established that. But you did go to Game 7 against the 1 seed, a team that won 60 games, and so clearly there is some good talent on this roster, and yeah, maybe a new coach could unlock it. So I'm kind of right there with you, JP. Any what are y'all's thoughts on Detroit moving forward? All right, do y'all think they get the Cavs next round? We'll talk about that later, but I if I recall to our preview show of the whole playoffs, none of us were really that high on Detroit as a true finals contender. Do we still feel that way? Do we feel even worse about them? What's the?
I would say
vibe?
I feel worse about them, but also maybe that's just because I wasn't aware of the fact that while they were the 1 seed, they just may not have been the best, or how real it was that they weren't actually the best team in the East. That was the reality there. So I would say I feel worse about them.
I feel the same because I did think they were gonna struggle against the Magic. And I've said that every time. They were 2-2 in the season series against the Magic. The season series ends up 6-5. Them in favor by just 1 game. So I'm not surprised by the struggle in round 1. I think, I guess general wise, their ceiling. I don't think their ceiling's capped. Like, I still think this is a team that can represent the Eastern Conference because I think Cade's that good. I really liked what I saw from Jalen Duren in Game 7, at least him being aggressive to score to start the game. He had 6 points in the first quarter. He ends up with 15 in the game. Has finally had his first double-double of the series. This is a guy who averaged 19 and 10 all year, so averaging a double-double and hadn't had a double-double yet against Wendell Carter Jr. and Goga for 6 games. Like, that's kind of inexcusable. And he finally ended up doing that in Game 7, and I really thought he finally showed the aggressiveness, especially getting on the offensive glass. He had 6 offensive rebounds in Game 7. So I do think he may have refound some confidence there. And when you look on the Cleveland side, and the 3 losses at least, where they really struggled was Mobley and Jared Allen just did not pull up their end of the bargain, and it was just the Donovan Mitchell show. I think if maybe we see more of that, then they very well can beat the Cavs. They're going to have home court the rest of the way as well.
I mean, they're favored in that series. Detroit is.
Detroit's
so
favorite, okay.
Slight favorite. I mean, it's minus 118, but they are favored. So yeah, I mean, they definitely could win next round. They could potentially make the finals, but I'd say once again, like UJP, feel largely the same. It's just basically you're banking on Cade going crazy basically every game to get a win, and then hoping that either Duren or you get one of these. Like, I mean, Tobias Harris was fantastic in Game 7. Someone else has to add some offensive punch, and so there's a chance because Cade has been that good. But it was a tough series for them. I mean, they're lucky to still be in this thing. Next big talking point from round 1, which is glorious. Celtics blowing a 3-1 lead in their series. The 76ers win 3 straight games, largely on the back of Joel Embiid coming back, and that's really where we went wrong, I feel like, because we talked about them on Monday, and we were like, the series is over. Celtics are the better team. Philly threw their best punch, but they just don't have quite enough. And I just don't think any of us expected Joel Embiid to come back and look as good as he did, which is crazy. He looked as good as he did while also, like,
having surgery on the sideline,
and he's getting 3 people yanking on him to stretch him out on the sideline, but then he's still dropping 34 points and hitting tough shots, had a couple big blocks. And so it really flipped on its head from it doesn't really look like the 76ers have enough to all of a sudden Game 6, Game 7, and it's like, especially Game 7 with no Tatum, it was like the Celtics don't have enough. They're the ones that they're at the talent deficit. Mazzulla runs out the crazy Game 7 starting lineup, a lineup of 3 guys that hadn't started in the series. It was a lineup that had played 0 minutes together all season. Ron Harper legitimately plays 4 minutes, and doesn't see the floor for the rest of the game. So you could kind of see on the Celtics side, they were all of a sudden, they felt it too, that they were at disadvantage and had to try and find something from someone that hadn't really given them much yet, and it just didn't happen. They put up a good fight, but Embiid and Maxey were honestly just too much, and so now Philly moves on and the Celtics go home. So thoughts on this series?
I thought Embiid played the best game of his career in Game 7, by far. He's had better games statistically, maybe not in the playoffs. 34 and 12. I'd have to go back. It was 6 assists. I'd have to go back and look, but I did think it was the best game of his career. Just the level of competitive desire you could just feel through the screen. This is a guy who's lost in the postseason to Boston multiple times and lost in a Game 7 at Boston before, and he has no desire to lose to this group again. And he showed that the way he fought through injury, the multiple different times he got injured in that game with his knees, and then still giving full effort defensively. He is getting switched on to Jaylen Brown out on the 3-point line and staying with Jalen step for step. He's demanding the ball in the low post throughout pretty much the entirety of the first, second, third quarter. Then I thought the fourth quarter he kind of strayed a little bit as he hurt both of his knees. Relied on the three-point line a little bit too much.
He started going and standing in the corner and was like, Tyrese, can you go get some buckets? And Maxey said, I got you.
Yeah. So I thought Embiid played the best game of his career. Paired with Maxey playing as well as he did, but VJ Edgecombe, that guy's a stone cold killer.
Yeah, he's fire.
Of course,
Youngest
they showed
player
us
to ever score 20+ in a Game 7.
that's cool. That's a cool stat. He has earned that. I mean, they showed the stat of he makes a three, they win. They were 4-0 in games in which he made threes, 0-3 in the games which he did not make threes. He's 5 for 11 from three in this game. But the dude's a stone cold killer. He does not care about how big the moment is, and he showed that. And I think it kind of makes them like almost like a big four with the way Paul George has been playing, shooting the ball. This team, I think, I don't know what the odds are. Are they favored against the Knicks as well?
No, the Knicks
assume
are
they're
minus
not.
260, but it's close.
But I do think like this Philly team is live to make the finals as well.
Completely agree.
I think the Eastern Conference wide open with the way Embiid's playing, the way Maxey's playing. They're not. I don't think they're going to be. They're not afraid of anyone. Clearly not, because they got over Boston. That was really the only team that's held them back throughout the years. But I really just admire the play of Embiid and Maxey and Edgecombe in Game 7.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. And now it's a weird thing, too, of I'm not someone that has ever really liked Joel Embiid in his career. Like it's always the meme of he's never made an Eastern Conference Finals. He's fun to hate. He flops around a little bit. He disappears in big playoff spots. He's always hurt. And so to now be here and he pulls this off, and now I'm like kind of rooting for a Joel Embiid playoff run is like somewhere I never thought I'd be. And I really do hope it happens. And yeah, it's just once again like what a turnaround for me and for a lot of people. I mean, the praise he was getting on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, after each of those final 3 games is something that he doesn't really normally get. He's a very often slandered player. But he saw a mismatch and just fried it. I mean, Boston's bigs were not good enough in this series, and then when they tried to go small, he just would put whoever they try to put on him in a small ball lineup and just back him down to under the basket and turn and lay it in, basically. Did it multiple times to Jaylen Brown or whoever. So really great work from him. And now the Celtics have some, like, questions to answer. And not tons because, Tatum gets hurt. Tatum just came back from Achilles. By all means, they probably will just run it back. But at the same time, on the fringes, they probably aren't quite as good as that championship team. You no longer have guys like Al Horford, a good Porzingis, stuff like that. So I'm interested to see what they do this offseason, combined with all the Jaylen Brown noise from last night. I don't know if you saw his Twitch stream or not. And he's talking about how this was his most fun year of basketball ever. And I'm curious if at any point he decides he wants his own team. And I don't expect that to happen this offseason, but if he's just like, hey, can y'all trade me so I can go do my own thing? Because I do think he loves that dynamic of being the guy, and it's going to be that guy along Tatum. And I do also feel like this is a crossroad offseason in the sense of next season's really important because if you flame out in the playoffs again, and this is a big if, I'm projecting forward, even more questions start getting asked, even about Joe Mazzulla, about Tatum and Brown, about Derek White, Pritchard. Because at that point, the Jays, Jaylen Brown and Tatum, have won one ring in a 10, 11-year span of being together and being good. And for most franchises, that's pretty good. Getting one ring is the goal. It's the dream. For the Celtics, that's not really the case. They expect a little bit more. So I'm interested just mainly because it's the Celtics if any overreactions happen, especially from the fans, and how it goes. But once again, kind of they'll probably just run it back. But I'm just curious.
I will say that, as someone who doesn't watch the NBA in the regular season, and last year was kind of the first year where I watched it in the playoffs, it was really cool. I know y'all kind of already moved on from Embiid, but it was cool to get to see him, playing at the high level. because he didn't play. They didn't make the postseason last year, and then he played in 23-24, but I wasn't watching at the time. And like, I know that he was an MVP caliber player and won an MVP like in the late 2010s.
He won that 23-24 season.
Oh,
MVP.
okay.
Shout out Kendrick Perkins.
And so, like, having not seen him, like, the stuff of lore, just like how good he was in his prime before the injuries really took their toll, it was cool to like kind of see that and have that reinforced. Like, okay, this guy is a really, really good center when he's not hurt.
He can score the ball like no other.
Yeah.
In terms of at that position. So yeah, I completely agree. It was cool to see like shades of that once again. And once again, we'll get to it when we preview their next series. But it's gonna be interesting to see how long he can keep that up because it's a constant fear with him. A couple other things as we wrap up the round one. The Lakers get it done. They don't blow the 3-0. They take Game 6 in Houston pretty comfortably. The Rockets' offense was dead. LeBron James was great. Rui was great. AR did his thing. And so they send the Rockets packing, and they get the honor of being most likely the sacrificial lamb to the OKC Thunder. But just big shout-out to LeBron. For him to do that at 41, be the best player in the series, average over 20, average about 10 assists, be fairly efficient while he does it, and just be an ultimate calming presence to a roster that without Luka is just really not that good. Big stuff, and once again, the Rockets now go to an offseason full of questions of we were a little injured, so like, do we run it back? Do we let Fred VanVleet and Steven Adams get healthy, and hopefully the young guys get a little bit better, and then we're right back in it? Or given how good the West is, do we feel like we need to look to improve and trade some picks or trade some young guys to improve the roster? What's the relationship like with Kevin Durant and all the burner stuff? Is we've already talked about on the show, but I feel like he's probably gone this offseason. So like, what's the move there? Are you trading him for a couple picks and then like just an expiring contract? Are you trying to trade him for a legitimate good asset to help the team? How does that go down? What would y'all do this offseason if y'all are the Rockets?
I'm trading KD to get whatever I can there. Sure. I don't know what the exact piece I'd trade for, but I'd try to get something, and then I'm running it back because 2 years ago we were the 2 seed in the Western Conference, and we won 50-plus games with essentially the same core that we had. We had Fred VanVleet, who's healthy, and Steven Adams, who was healthy. We just didn't have Kevin Durant as part of that core, and we were a 2 seed in the Western Conference, the same Western Conference that had a healthy Jokic year. Of course, the Spurs weren't good yet, but a good Timberwolves year. The Thunder as well. So I'm running it back, and I'm getting rid of Kevin Durant because I don't think that we may never hear what it actually felt like indoors, but what happened over the All-Star break with the burner leak and everything, I do feel like put a mental toll on this team that cannot be overcame. And so it did feel like, especially in this series against the Lakers, the games in which Durant didn't play, that they were a completely different team. And they kind of played like that. They played through Şengün. Şengün was their vocal leader. While during the season, it was kind of Kevin Durant who was the guy that they were looking up towards.
Yeah, I mean, I think you probably have to run it back too. I don't expect that to have any great postseason success. Şengün was kind of their offensive engine down the stretch with limited returns, which part of it is there's just not shooting around him, and he's a guy you need to surround with shooting. But he's also just not a good enough defender, in my eyes, to really anchor a big playoff run. But I just don't think you're going to really find a move that, like, all of a sudden makes you so much better. So you might as well sit on it for another year. I agree, trade KD. It kind of feels like they're back to square one, right? Like, last offseason was like, okay, we got our first real taste of playoff action. We were the 2 seed. We lost in round 1 to Golden State. That team's a team full of winners. It happens. Let's add KD. And it's like, oh, well, KD wasn't the missing ingredient. What is, like, let's go find a different missing ingredient and see if that works. And so I expect something kind of that nature. But, yeah, I don't expect, like, a blow-up, like, trade Şengün, let's trade Jabari Smith, stuff like that. I think it'll be relatively smaller moves aside from KD. And then the last, do you have anything to add, Sanders?
Nope.
The last round one series I want to touch on, just Raptors Cavs went 7. It ended yesterday. It was the final game of round 1, and the Cavs get it done. They had to have it, like absolutely had to have it, given their lack of postseason success with this core. You lose this, I think it's the end of this core as we know it. Like no one's untouchable. I don't think you could see something that's crazy, a Donovan Mitchell trade or an Evan Mobley trade, but at the very least, like a Jaren Allen's getting traded. Maybe they ship off James Harden. The coach is getting fired. Like they.
What do you mean? Maybe they ship off James Harden? That's probably happening anyway.
Nah, I mean he's only been there half a year. You know the honeymoon's not over.
Okay. Next trade. So this trade deadline. Got it.
Yes. But they pushed off those conversations at least for a minute because they win. They advance to play the Pistons in the next round, and Toronto goes home. And so now I just want to focus on Toronto real quick before we move on. I just want to give them props because, honestly, I didn't expect them to put up this much of a fight. I kind of poo-pooed on them in our preview. I was like, no one really wants to watch this team. And I was somewhat right because the offense is pretty gross. They don't really have much there, not much shooters. It's not really fun to watch Brandon Ingram, and he even gets hurt in the series, misses Game 7. But Scotty Barnes was really fantastic. Unreal as a defender. Him and Colin Murray-Boyles as like a defensive duo, as two guys that are like, they're not tall, but they're so big that they can defend up and defend big men, but then also they're laterally quick enough to get out on guards and harass guards. Like I think it was game 4, and the defense Colin Murray-Boyles played on Donovan Mitchell on his final shot was superb. So like that duo was really fun to watch work, mainly defensively, but also they gave you some good offensive juice as well. And they put up a great fight. And, sure, they're going home, but I was really happy with what I saw from them. The unfortunate reality is they're already well into the first apron. They don't have any big contracts coming off the books for next season. So if you do want to improve this roster, I don't really know how you go about it. You may just have to run it back, and running it back will probably yield similar results, barring an unforeseen developmental leap from somebody. But it is just a pretty flawed roster and very expensive at the same time, which is very unideal. So thoughts on them, what you saw from them, thoughts what they should do in the offseason, anything like that? If not, we'll move on.
Well, I appreciated it too, watching them. I like the point on Murray-Boyles and Scotty Barnes. They're both just 6'8", but they play way bigger than 6'8". It feels like Murray-Boyles is the 7-footer. It feels like Scotty Barnes is Giannis, but he's almost 4 inches shorter than Giannis. Giannis is listed at 6'11", but he's really like a 7-footer. I thought Barnes showed a ton throughout this series. Just his ability to score throughout an entirety of a playoff series through 7 games. They didn't really have a game where he was really, really bad. He was able to get to his shot. His explosiveness is kind of unguardable at times. I do think like Cleveland, they did an okay job, but they definitely could have been better. Too many times they're picking up him at half court, and he's just crossing over whoever is guarding him, and he's going straight to the rim and dunking on whoever is at the rim.
Yeah.
I do think like maybe there's ability to convince themselves that we were a game away from being in the second round of an Eastern Conference that would have been wide open, that you could make the case the Raptors could be in the finals again. And we didn't have Brandon Ingram or Emmanuel Quickley, two of our key pieces.
Yes.
Both guys that can score 15-plus a night for us. And that showed like that our offense struggled because we didn't have those pieces throughout the series. I think they can convince themselves to run it back because there is something to being a competitive, like, we think about like the NFL and the NBA with the salary caps and whatnot. You aren't just given that money from the NFL or NBA. You have to earn that money. You have to have revenue. And so having at least a competitive roster with compelling pieces sells tickets, sells jerseys, which ultimately earns you revenue and makes you a profitable, potentially, company or business or franchise. So I do think there is something to that. So I don't think they should, be chasing after championships or something by making a big splash move like trading quickly and Brandon Ingram for Kevin Durant. Like may not change anything for you.
Sure.
So I don't think they should blow up the ship by any means. It's also Darko's only in year 3, so give him some time to continue to grow as a head coach. And with the lack of superstar talent in the Eastern Conference, which continued with this past year's draft, where Cooper Flagg stays out west and Dylan Harper stays out west, like the really only good rookie that came east was Edgecombe, that could be a superstar. Conkinable could be a star.
Yeah.
I don't think you should panic by any means because you're a game away from being 2 series away from the finals.
Definitely no reason to panic, and I love your point too of like sometimes there's nothing wrong with just being a competitive team. That's like a 3 through 6 seed that sure probably doesn't really have actual championship aspirations. But yeah, we'll put fans in the seats and we'll give you a good first round series, maybe a pretty good second round series. And yeah, I think they'll ride with that path at least for another year and then maybe go somewhere from there. Because that's better than forcing a terrible fit on a trade or mortgaging your future on a trade. So yeah, I kind of like what you said and like your vision.
Especially when they're not a historic franchise. Like they
Yeah.
don't have to live up to the expectations. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers, they go 9-7 every single year, but they're living up to being a franchise that's won 6 championships. And so championship mentality has to be a part of that. It's not that with the Raptors. Their one championship, people kind of felt like it was a fluke year, in large part because Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson get hurt in that series, but Kawhi led them all the way. Be competitive.
Yeah, you're not the Lakers.
Sell tickets.
Cool. Anything else to add? What would y'all grade the first round out of 10?
I'd give it like an 8, 7.5, 8, because there were a lot of we had 3 or 4 game 7s.
We had 3 game 7s.
Which I think that compared to like the previous years.
2 3-1 comebacks.
Yeah. Let me just look up before I speak too soon. I believe that previous years have not 1, 2 last year. So I feel like we had more competitive series than recent. 1 the year before that. Some 4-2 series, but I think it was very competitive, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 7. It was quite good. And, nothing wrong with a 7. That's a good score. Fantastic competitive basketball. We got some, great player performances, really good storylines. Maybe knock a little bit. A lot of people got injured. There were a lot of injuries, and that just kind of does put a damper on things when guys like Ant aren't 100%, or, KD misses time. We don't get to see Luka in the playoffs.
Tatum doesn't play game 7.
Tatum doesn't play game 7. Franz Wagner goes out. Stuff like that definitely kind of it hurts the score a little bit. But I still thought it was a very good round 1, and I can't wait for what's next.
Yeah, I'm going to give it an 8. I only thought there were 2 series that kind of just felt unwatchable, those being the Thunder Suns, and you guys want to guess which other series I thought was unwatchable?
Lakers Rockets?
No.
Okay.
The Piston series?
No, it was Raptors Cavs.
Yeah.
I did feel like that series was kind of unwatchable.
That was horrible basketball.
Besides, I think, in my opinion, the 3 games in Toronto, where it really felt like there was those 3 games were compelling. I didn't feel like much of the series was very watchable. So I would definitely take this kind of round 1 performance. I thought the storylines were the most compelling. The Timberwolves beating, Jaden McDaniels doing what he did to the Nuggets.
Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. I fully agree. The Wemby, his first playoff series, including the game 1 with the T-shirts and whatnot, which they're not doing that tonight, are they? But
I don't
they
think
have
so.
to do that again.
I think we'll get it one more time in the second round, and then for conference finals and finals, you're not allowed to wear alternate jerseys. It has to be your either just your home or your away jersey. So we won't see it in conference finals or finals if we get there. But yeah, we should see it one more time this series.
That was really compelling. So I give it an 8.
Cool. Shall we move on to round 2?
Yeah. Also, JP, when you lean that way, the computer covers your face.
Good.
So if you say something short worthy, it's just gonna be
Perfect.
zoomed in on JP's computer, there's a face back there talking.
Drew Brees, the ghost
Yeah,
of Drew
the
Brees is
ghost.
talking.
He's still alive.
Well, but he's no longer
He is still
active.
alive.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make statements about the health of Drew Brees. I hope he's doing very
The
well.
ghost
He's
I
doing
don't
great.
know.
He's
Drew
a
Brees.
Fox commentator now.
What order you want to go in? East to west? High to low? Low to high? North to south?
Let's do
Alphabetical?
Knicks Philly first. That's the first game on tonight.
Cool.
The 70 seed 76ers will face off against the 2 seed Knicks in the Eastern Conference semifinals. And the Knicks are minus 260 in terms of series favorite. So a fairly close spread, something I don't think anyone saw coming in terms of, yeah, maybe some people predicted the 76ers to beat Boston, but maybe not look as good while doing it. I mean, the Knicks were very like, this was also... The Knicks were the 3 seed.
Yes.
So do we just want to remake the graphic? I can restart.
The Knicks are they beat, okay, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to
Might
say, wait
be.
a second. Man, the 76ers got to beat a lot of 2 seeds to get to the finals, man. It's a
How did
unique path.
I don't know how I pulled that one off.
No, it's all good. I didn't catch it at first either.
Give me just a sec.
Technical difficulties.
I mean, if you, yeah.
This is the content you tune in for. Sanders hard at work. Pristine.
Take it away.
Well done. Round 2, and we'll kick it off with this first matchup. The first game tonight, the first game of round 2. The 3-seeded New York Knicks will face off against the 7-seeded Philadelphia 76ers. The Knicks dispatched the Hawks 4-2 in round 1, and the Knicks performed a quite astonishing 3-1 comeback against the Celtics in round 1 to reach here. Knicks are minus 260 favorites for the series. I think this is the series I'm most excited for. Unbiased, I'm a Spurs fan, so I'm most excited for the Spurs series. But I think we're going to get great hoops in this one. Should be a fantastic matchup. I hope Embiid stays healthy. We have, previous Embiid-Cat beef that is long established, 6 years running. So that'll be fun to watch, see play out on the court. Maxey versus Brunson, a great guard battle. Even, Paul George versus OG Anunoby, 2 players who aren't necessarily the biggest stars at this point in their careers, but were fantastic in round 1 and really integral to what their teams want to do, especially defensively. It'll be fun to see them, battle a little bit. Y'all thoughts on the series? Initial factors. What are y'all looking for?
Hey, the most compelling part for me is going to be the fan bases.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see those matchups. We saw this series 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. The Knicks and the Sixers played in round 1, in round 2 actually. Is that right?
I'm looking.
Might have been round 1.
Was round.
No, the Knicks played the
1.
Heat.
It
I
was
thought.
round 1, and this Knicks won 4-2. That was the year.
Last year.
You said so. 2 years ago it happened. Did it happen? It did not happen last year.
Sixers didn't make the playoffs last year.
So
Yeah.
When did the Knicks
3
play the
years
Heat? Is that
ago.
3 years ago. Regardless, we have seen this
Yeah,
playoff
3
matchup
years ago, Knicks
before.
played the Heat in round 2.
That's 3 years ago. Okay, cool. So 2 years ago. I'm really excited to see Philly fans against the Knicks, and then of course I'm really excited for the Garden games, as anyone is in any Knicks playoff series. With the way Embiid was in the TD Garden, the Boston Garden, quieting the crowd, everyone. I couldn't figure out what the chants were, what they were chanting at Embiid through Game 7. But whatever it was, I'm sure it was very kind, and they were saying have a good summer, like a lot of kids are saying and writing in yearbooks right now, as they end their school days here in May. I'm really excited to see that. I want to see how VJ plays in the Garden in a playoff series. I think he's, for me, the X factor for the Sixers, because I don't think Like I think Embiid's going to average 25 and 10 in this series. There's no one who can guard Maxey on the Knicks. Anunoby or Macau, I don't think are fast enough. They don't have the rim protection for when they do get beat. Like Karl Anthony Towns is, I don't think, going to block Maxey very often.
Agreed.
I think Cat is going to be in foul trouble a lot in this series, and I think that's something he's going to have to really manage because of the Embiid matchup, but also because, I do think Maxey's going to beat guys off the dribble, and he's going to get to the foul line because of that.
Yeah.
They're 2-2. They were 2-2 in the series this year. Knicks won the last two matchups, and the Sixers won the first two matchups. Embiid played in two of the games. They were 1-1 in the games with Embiid. The one game they lost, Jose Alvarado scored 26 points off the bench, and the Knicks blew him out 138-89 in Philly. Both of these teams were also, they won the two games on the road.
Interesting.
Which is really compelling for this series. So neither team really is scared of playing in Philly or playing in New York.
Yeah.
But I agree, Jack. I think we're going to get really compelling hoops because you look across the board, there's not really any body like matches up well against the other. I guess maybe OG could guard Paul George well. Maybe Macau could give
see, it's like I'm
VJ
interested
some trouble.
Because you mentioned the foul trouble thing, and like Cat's not known for being the best defender. Do we see that try and put OG on Embiid, and so you don't even see Paul George guarded by OG? I could see them trying to do that and mixing it up some. Because I agree. I think you'll see Cat in foul trouble a lot, so it's really intriguing to see what they're going to do.
I think on the Sixers side, how far can Embiid fight through this series? Did he actually injure his knees in Game 7 to any major degree? Because they really shortened up their rotation once Embiid returned, and they were basically playing six guys, and then they were playing a seventh guy, which was just Drummond playing to give Embiid rest.
Yeah, and he had a couple okay moments in the series. Game 7, it was like you could tell as soon as Embiid left the floor, it was like, oh yeah, this is our time as the Celtics to go on runs.
Yeah.
Kata was getting a lot more active, getting downhill, and it's not like Kata is anywhere near Cat. Like if you give Cat the runway to play big minutes against non-Embiid lineups, it could become yikes.
Yeah, I like Cat against Drummond a lot. So I'm curious to see their level of fatigue as we get into Game 5, which I anticipate there to be a Game 5, and Game 6 as well. I anticipate there to be a Game 6 as well. I'm curious to see if they will still be as productive, because on the Knicks side, at least throughout this season, they've been relying a little bit on their bench and giving their bench some big minutes. I think the X factor for them is going to be those bench guys.
Yeah.
Because Philly is sticking kind of to a six-man rotation, and the Knicks are playing about 7 or 8. Deuce McBride, how does he play in this series? Does Alvarado get some run? Does Mitchell Robinson cook Andre Drummond? And if it is Mitchell Robinson against Drummond in those minutes,
Can he hit a couple of his free throws?
can he shoot 50% from the foul line and not 30? I do think that's kind of the X factor for the Knicks, but I can't wait because, like I said, there's not really a good matchup defensively for anybody against anybody in this series.
Should be a lot of buckets for sure.
Agreed.
And we got some great, just like crunch time, clutch game scores in this series too. That'll be fun to watch work. Like Maxey and Brunson trading buckets, the Embiid Cat trading buckets down the stretch. Should be a ton of fun. I want to circle back to what you said at the top about the crowd. I mean, what you're looking at first. Great point. We even saw Embiid touch on it in his post game, basically being like,
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly. Basically like, we can't let this become the Garden in Philly. Like
He said Madison Square Garden East, which doesn't make sense because Philly is west of New York.
Not great geography from him. The point is very true. Geographically, they're not that far apart. I believe you can even take probably a train from New York to Philly, no problem. And so he's basically like pleading with 76ers fans, like, don't sell your tickets to Knicks fans. He literally even was like, if you don't have the money, I got you. So apparently, we should probably just reach out to Joel Embiid and be like, we'll Photoshop his 76ers jersey on Sanders, or it can just be his now. They can
I'll be a
his NBA
76
team.
for
There you
tickets.
go.
I'd be a 76ers
Yeah,
fan.
and then he can hit us up. It's a great point. What is the crowd like? Because we know what it's going to be like in the Garden. So can the 76ers have some sort of home field advantage as well? Can't wait. Should be a ton of fun. Prayers Embiid stays healthy. You mentioned VJ being an X factor. I don't necessarily disagree, but I feel like for any series going forward, the X factor really is Embiid's health.
Yeah.
Because if you lose him, I like Maxey a ton. I like Edgecombe. I like Paul George, but the trajectory of this team and the talent and just the ceiling of this team diminishes greatly without him. No shit. That's obvious, but he has to stay healthy. At this point, is it just do you think his knees just hurt all the time?
I'd have to imagine so. Yeah.
There is no pain-free days or games for him.
As someone who's had knee surgery, every time I do something athletic, it doesn't hurt while I'm doing it because I'm not thinking about it. I'm just thinking about the sport, whatever it is. But the minute I sit down and take my cleats off, it just aches.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think his knees are very cooked, and so how much can he really push through?
He probably has a lot
ignore the
more
pain?
medicine at his disposal.
I don't know. For someone who's had knee problems as well, myself, I had Osgood-Schlatter.
Okay, yeah. I have no idea what that is.
It's essentially it's a growth spurt thing that happens when you're going through puberty, where
Yep.
you your growth plate is weirdly undetached.
Did you wear the band around it to push it?
Yeah. So you basically have a second kneecap, which you could feel it right now. If you have it, it stays permanently deformed like that. So this is my kneecap, but I have a second literal kneecap right here. And it's in both knees, and it causes a bunch of pain in both knees. I would have moments where going into the game, perfectly healthy, chilling. It got to the fourth quarter, and sometimes I'd have to get subbed out because I couldn't walk. It was that painful. And the loss of just motion was there. But through college, specifically just playing angle ball, I would have moments where I would kind of strain my knee or whatever. And I mean, as you guys saw, I wore a knee brace periodically while playing angle ball. It is something that if you haven't strained your knee, there is no pain there. But once you strain it, it stays there, and it stays there for a week.
Yeah.
And so I feel that for him, when he hasn't played for a long time, there is no pain for that first little bit returning. But as soon as he strained it once, he's kind of just playing through pain. But I think what he showed in Game 7, the dude's, I think, going to fight through anything throughout this postseason.
Agreed.
The only thing I kind of want to watch for tonight is it helps that there is, I don't know, maybe it doesn't help, the day rest of in between. So one, I think that's going to hurt them, obviously, but I want to see the emotional change, because you're starting a completely new series, and like they say in the playoffs, every series is different. So to go off the emotional high of winning a Game 7 on the road in Boston to now you are smack dab into the start of a Eastern Conference semifinal series in the Garden against New York, how do you manage that?
Sure.
Are they ready for that? I'm really curious to see how that goes. I think Nick Nurse will help them. I think they'll be really competitive in this Game 1 against the Knicks. I think this is going to be a really, really close game. But do they start slow in the first quarter and have to claw their way back in the second half? I think it's something just to look for tonight.
Fair.
Because of that, just the emotional change between winning a Game 7 and then going straight into a Game 1 2 days later.
The only 1 day rest is brutal. That's a good point. Should we pick it?
Yeah, I'm curious to see where we go here.
I can't. All holds are off for me in the Eastern Conference because I had the Celtics making the finals.
Likewise.
So there's no trying to stick to my.
I'm pretty sure
initial
you had the
prediction.
Knicks.
I had the Knicks.
He had the Knicks, so he's the only one with his Eastern Conference champion still left alive.
Let's go.
I'm gonna pick the 76ers here in 7. Just go out on that limb. I think the Knicks' ceiling is higher, and they looked fantastic in those final couple games against the Hawks. But my thing with the Knicks always has been they're Jekyll and Hyde. And so I think if the Knicks don't play with any sort of consistency this series, they're going to end up losing. They're going to end up choking a game or two at home. They're going to have a game where, like, Cat randomly has 7 shots or, something like that, and it's all Brunson, and he can't get it done. And so I'm going to pick the 76ers and pray Embiid stays healthy and he reaches his first Eastern Conference Finals. But I think it's going to be a tightly contested series, 7 either way. But I am going 76ers.
I'm going to go Knicks in 7.
I'm going to go Knicks in 7 as well. I imagine that this was a talking point throughout yesterday and especially today in New York radio of would we have rather seen the Celtics win Game 7 or the Sixers? And I do think the answer would be we would have rather seen the Celtics.
Agreed.
Because this team was built to beat the Boston Celtics. It was built to match them
Yeah.
and their length.
The Knicks team?
Yeah, the Knicks. Like New York radio today, were they talking about
Yeah.
would we have rather seen Boston? And then you factor in the Jason Tatum health concerns as well. I do think they would have rather seen Boston. Had they been playing Boston, I think I would have gone Knicks in 6.
Sure.
But playing the Sixers team, I think the Sixers are just a worse matchup. I think we're going to see a ton of high-scoring games and a ton of close games. I'm going to take Knicks in 7.
Yeah,
as
and
well.
for the Knicks, picking Knicks in 7, I think at least 1 or 2 of those Knicks wins are games where Embiid doesn't play 30. What is the normal 35 minutes for him? Is that normal?
He played 39 in Game 7.
Yeah, I think that
But
1 or 2 of those.
35 minutes would be good minutes.
I think 1 or 2 of those wins are games where he doesn't play that much. I think that they not get lucky, but just the nature of that 76ers team. I think that 1 or 2 wins come because Embiid is not able to get the 76ers enough.
Sure. Cool. Well, yeah, Game 1's tonight. I can't wait to watch. I will be dialed for that one. We can go on to the next game of this evening, which is the Spurs Timberwolves.
There you go.
What a fun matchup, man. You could even just go watch, any of their last 2 regular season matchups and kind of see what we're in store for. Assuming Ant is anywhere near healthy, he is playing tonight, barring setback. Shams came out and reported that an hour and a half ago. Does he look like himself, though? Because even before this second knee injury, he already had the knee issue with the other leg, runner's knee, and then he hyperextends his other knee. He wasn't really looking like himself. So, how does he look? That's a caveat. But, we got Ant 50 ball against the Spurs earlier this year, and in the same game...
Double nickel, 55.
Mm-hmm. And in that same game, Wemby dropped 40. It's been good battles between these two teams in the regular season. There's some fun chess matches in this series. It kicks off tonight. Spurs are the 2 seed. Timberwolves are the 6 seed. The Spurs, I believe, are minus 700 to win the series. I will say that number could have changed already. It was as high as 3,000 before we got the Ant information. So it's all over the place, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But regardless, the Spurs are pretty sizable favorites to win the series. Do you all agree with that assessment? Do you think that's harsh on the Timberwolves given what they've accomplished making the Western Conference Finals these past 3 seasons? Where y'all at with that?
I think they fully deserve to be the favorites, but I don't like that they are being given that much juice.
Sure.
As far as a betting odds goes, because this is a Timberwolves team that has made the conference finals 2 years in a row, and this is a Spurs team that's won one playoff series against the lowly Portland Trailblazers. While they're the better team and they deserve to be the favorites, especially with home court advantage and the health things, this series is guaranteed to go 6 games, if you ask me, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see 7. So I understand the Spurs being favorites, but if there was a way to bet the Timberwolves covering the spread on a series, I would bet the T-Wolves.
Sure. Do you agree? The 700 seems steep to you?
I guess it just depends on what Vegas's expectations are from Ant. But also, I am not going to speak too much, given the last time I spoke about Ant, the Timberwolves, I said they couldn't win unless he scored 35 or 40, and then they proceeded to do that 3 times, I think.
Minus 700 is an 87.5% implied probability.
Yeah, that seems a little steep. I don't disagree, and I'm a Spurs fan. In terms of X's and O's, what I'm looking at is just a couple things real quick. How what kind of lineups do the Timberwolves employ? Ant or no Ant? How much size do they try and get on the floor? They're a team that loves to finish in the paint. It's already well established. That's very hard to do against Victor Wembanyama. So are you going to see lineups where you have Gobert and Naz Reid and Jaden McDaniels? Gobert, Julius Randle, Naz Reid. How much size are you going to try and play with? How big are you going to try and go? Because the reality is the Spurs really only have two bigs that they play, Wemby and Cornette, and they don't ever really play together. Unless I'm mistaken, I don't think they played a single minute together in the first series.
I don't remember one.
And even in the regular season, partially because they consistently had Wemby on minutes restriction, but they didn't really run double big often. And so that goes if you're looking at the Spurs starting lineup, it's like a Julian Champagnie on Julius Randle. Big time size and strength mismatch there. How can the Timberwolves exploit that? And so then on the flip side, it's okay, Spurs, how are you going to alleviate that? Are you going to see if De'Aaron Fox give you some minutes on Anthony Edwards and put Stephon Castle as a stronger defender on Julius Randle? I think Carter Bryant is a huge piece in this series as a bench player for the Spurs that has shown he can defend up in size because he's so strong, while also being laterally quick enough to switch onto smaller players so he can't be exploited that way. But, one, I think he's questionable for game one, but he's had some fouling issues, so can he stay out of foul trouble to be able to be played big minutes? Can he give you enough offensive juice and make enough threes to where you can afford to play him because of his good defense, or is his offense going to be too bad where you can't play him? Similar for Keldon Johnson, he's a bit of a bigger body. What kind of impact can he have defensively? What's the mismatches there? Or does it come down to sure, Julius Randle's bigger than Julian Champagnie, but even if he backs down Julian Champagnie, Wemby's probably just going to be waiting, and so does it really matter? That's something I'm really excited to see play out. What does Jaden McDaniels have after his big, his magnum opus series of calling out the Denver players for all being bad defenders and then backing you up? He already seems to have a little more respect for the Spurs.
Who was the Timberwolf that broke out and dropped 30 or 40?
Dosunmu.
Yeah.
I was just a slight tidbit aside.
Everybody's been butchering his name. It's crazy.
Aside on him, his basketball card prices are going through the roof.
Yeah,
which is just really cool to see a guy have. I mean, was that the most he scored in his career?
Surely.
I had never heard of him.
Here's the thing: he was on the Bulls, and so
that's fair.
You're stuck in purgatory.
Josh Giddey's top 5 in triple doubles this season. I think maybe in the 2020s or just this season.
I think in the 20 for that division.
For that division, he's top 5 in 2020s. So
he is another piece because he didn't even play Game 6. So what is his health like?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the size kind of pieces are going to be really huge here. We've seen the Spurs struggle with that at times with teams that can go bigger, and the Spurs don't really have a true power forward. So one, can the Timberwolves exploit it? And two, if they do start to exploit it, how do the Spurs try and answer that call? But that's the biggest X and O thing I'm looking at.
I think for me, the one thing I want to see is what does the Wemby at the rim or Luke Cornette at the rim versus these Timberwolves going downhill look like? Because I don't care that Ant's got 2 bum knees. He's going to try to dunk on someone at some point in the series. You see what Terrence Shannon was able to do in Game 6. The way that he was going aggressively downhill, Rudy Gobert and his threat in the lob game is something I'm very intrigued by. So I wonder who kind of wins that battle. I would just fully expect, with specifically the health of Ant, but Wemby's prowess, that Wemby wins that battle. But do we see Wemby get posterized at least once to the probably 10 or so times he blocks someone at the rim in this series?
So I saw a stat today. As the primary defender, Wemby gave up 8 field goals in the first round and had 16 blocks.
Yeah.
So,
but one poster is what they'll remember you by.
Correct. And even if you make him pick up a couple fouls and then he can't be as aggressive defensively. And I don't think Cornette at all is a bad backup big. I think he's actually pretty good and a pretty solid rim protector. Agree. He's no Wemby. So what can you do in the Cornette minutes even to that facet?
Another one on the Timberwolves side is you very rarely get to. I would imagine, once maybe a decade, you get a series where you are questioning whether or not a guy who is as defensively talented as Jaden McDaniels will be even a top 3 defender on the court in this series, because of Gobert and Wemby and Stephon Castle.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see does he hold a top 3 defensive impact. I think if for the Timberwolves to take this to 7 games or to win this series, that he and Gobert have to be the 2 behind Wemby in terms of the top 3 of defensive prowess in this series.
Sure.
And defensive dominance, because I think Jaden McDaniels can do that, and he showed that with his defense on Jamal Murray. I'm curious to see who he's matched up against throughout the series too. Do you put him on Castle? Do you put him on De'Aaron Fox? I guess I would lean putting on him on Castle to start with, and then allowing Ant to guard De'Aaron Fox.
That's what I would do, at least initially. But I think we'll see. Maybe if Fox heats up, there's a switch or something.
I just want to see how that plays out, because Jaden is a phenomenal defender. Maybe I would argue he's probably like the textbook small forward defender. That's kind of what you want on your team. A guy with his height that can score as well as he does as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's 6'10", has developed kind of a bit of a more of a self-creation game this season in terms of like hitting mid-range jumpers and getting to his spots, can knock down a 3. And even though he's about 6'10", he may not be quite that tall, but he's long. He can still guard at Jamal Murray and give him hell. It really is like exactly what you want.
For the Spurs side, just how they manage another playoff series. This is going to be, even with the Timberwolves' health, a tougher series than the Trailblazers series was, without a doubt. How do they manage the stress of? I mean, what if they lose Game 1 tonight? How do they manage responding in Game 2? I do think they're completely fine with that. I thought they showed a little bit of that in the first round series against the Blazers anyway.
Yeah.
When you choke the way you did in Game 2 and then respond in a Game 3 without Wemby, making that comeback. The comeback was in Game 4 though, right?
They were down 15 in Game 3
Okay,
and
it was Game 3.
15 plus in Game 4.
Maybe
So
it was both
two
of them.
games.
But for them to show that, I don't have any major questions about it. But as you get deeper in a playoff, in the playoffs, that can happen.
Yeah.
Like the Pacers kind of slowed down to a degree, especially the first time when they made the Eastern Conference Finals and they just kind of hit a wall against Boston. I don't suspect that from the Spurs, but it could happen, and it is something that's kind of like on my radar.
It could. This is going to sound disrespectful to the Trailblazers, but this kind of feels like the first real playoff series for the Spurs, and that like the Trailblazers were a fun team. They have some good players, but the talent gap was just so big. I mean, the Spurs players themselves in interviews, like when talking about the difference between what they're going to do in the Minnesota series versus the Portland series, is like, oh, Portland was pretty good, but like they were also very straightforward, and like we attacked them very straightforward, and like we didn't really have to try all sorts of different things. And so I think that's not going to be the case, and they don't seem to expect to be the case in the Timberwolves series, where like we're going to have to get creative. We're going to have to make a ton of game-to-game adjustments, and we know the Timberwolves are going to have all these adjustments to make. Whereas for Portland, it kind of was like they're going to just throw their best punch at us, but like we're really too good, and after they throw their best punch, they don't have any like pivot off of that. So this really to me feels like the first true like, oh, okay, we're probably gonna get punched, and then there's gonna. It feels like the first real chess match series for this young Spurs team.
I don't disagree. I think when you talk about this series, you need to talk about ways that the Timberwolves can win this series.
Sure.
Because they're underdogs as much as they are. I want to see. I have to see Naz Reid score more than he has this postseason. He's averaging 10.8 per game in the postseason, which is a little bit under his regular season. Yeah, 13.6 in the regular season, down to 10.8 now in the postseason. I got to see him score 15 plus. I think a night. He's probably going to be matched up against a smaller guy throughout much of the series, even though he's at 6'8". Maybe like Keldon Johnson's about the same height as him.
Yeah.
But that kind of feels like where that's where the matchup is going to be, especially when Gobert is on the floor and Naz Reid is also on the floor. I have to see him score more. I want to see what I. We all want to see the extent of Ant's health, and we'll get a pretty clear picture on that immediately, kind of like we did in the national championship, or not the national championship, but the second half with Yaxel Lindenborg, with Michigan. I think we'll kind of get the extent
Sure.
of how healthy he actually is very early tonight. But one of the things that like it can be is like how good of a potential decoy can he be? Can he shoot the three well enough to make 2 threes and force someone to come out there to guard him? Can he beat a few guys off the dribble early on, even though especially when they're these great defenders in Castle and Fox? Can he beat them off the dribble a few times and make those defenders think about that?
Yeah.
Think, okay, Ant can get at us. And then on top of that, can he play well enough to feed into his confidence, which then feeds into the moxie that T-Wolves play with? And I do think that's where they're the most dangerous. When Ant is talking his crap and everyone is feeling alive and feeding off the energy, and because of Ant's having these big buckets on the offensive end, they come down on the defensive end and then they just clamp the other opposing team.
Yeah.
I got to see those two things. I got to see Naz Reid score, and I got to see Ant at least be some kind of decoy. But more importantly, I think he's got to be feeding into his confidence enough that feeds into their confidence on the defensive end.
Yeah, I agree. That's how the Timberwolves would win. I do also want to throw in not just Naz Reid, but Julius Randle,
Sure.
who is someone that can have playoff games or playoff series where he's not very aggressive and is pretty quiet. They're going to need him to be assertive and be a legit, have multiple 20-point games, 25-point games in this series for them to win it. But I'm ready to pick it if y'all are. Okay, I'll lead it off.
I have-
Spurs in 6.
That's what I was going
I was
to
going
say.
to say Spurs in 6, and I think it'll go Timberwolves take one of the first two, and the Spurs respond by stealing one in Minnesota, and so then it's a 2-2 series.
Yeah.
And then the Spurs win 5 and 6.
I was also going to say Spurs in 6.
I'm going to take the Spurs in 7, I guess. I was
Sure.
going to take him in 6, but I do think I want to be the guy that was on the T-Wolves had a better chance.
I mean, it's just like one of the things I have in my note that I didn't explicitly say is like you just can't count this Timberwolves team. Multiple straight conference finals. We didn't really expect them to beat the Nuggets, and then they are beating the Nuggets, and then they get really hurt and really beat up, and it's like, honestly, kind of seems like the Nuggets may just kind of waltz to a 3-1 comeback, and Timberwolves are like not so fast. So you just really cannot count on this team. They're really comfortable and they're really confident.
Next up, the East.
I'd imagine Detroit.
Oh, not the East. It's
I'd
West
imagine
and the
Detroit
East.
Cleveland is game 1 tomorrow, but I'm confirming it is. It is. So yeah, 1-seeded Detroit, fresh off their nail-biting 7-game series against Orlando. We'll get the Cavaliers fresh off their nail-biting 7-game series against the Raptors in round 1. Pistons, once again, they're the 1 seed, so they have home court advantage. Little Caesars Arena gets to see second-round playoff basketball for the first time since...
It's been 18 years since they won a playoff series.
There you go, 18 years. It'll be rocking, I'd imagine. And honestly, probably because they have home court advantage, they're favorites in this series. They're minus 118, which isn't a huge margin. So I'd imagine that if it was flipped, you'd see the Cavs probably favored by about the same if they had home court. Honestly, neither of these teams were 7-game series against lower seeds. Neither of them really impressed me in round 1. They got the job done. They had some big performances. Players on the teams impressed me. Cade was phenomenal. But now it's kind of like this seems like just kind of a meh second-round matchup between two teams that are good. I'm not trying to say they're not, but they didn't come out in round 1 guns a-blazing. They still have some questions to answer. For the Cavs, it's like the Raptors, a good defensive team in the regular season, a very good defensive team, top 5 in defensive net rating, gave you a ton of issues defensively, and your offense really got thwarted for a lot of the series. Mitchell and Harden had some bad games. They weren't very efficient in the clutch. Your bigs were inconsistent handling that defense. Was it like a matchup thing, or are you going to face another really good defense in Detroit and have those similar issues? And then for Detroit, it's like, okay, for Detroit, offensively, it's like, well, we escaped the Magic, which were probably a bad matchup for us because they love to play physical. And this Cleveland team isn't as physical, but at the same time, you still have Jared Allen and Evan Mobley down low. So, like, are they just going to exploit our spacing issues just like the Magic did? And are we in for another long offensive series where we're constantly saying, hey, Cade, can you score 40 because you're the only one that can create and, find buckets in this mess? Or is it because they're not playing as physical of a team? Are they going to get Jalen Duren going more, and Isaiah Stewart's going to have a bigger impact, and they're going to feast in the paint and grab a lot of rebounds and have a much better offensive series? I don't know, but that's kind of what I'm looking at. There's kind of like a give and take, Was it a matchup thing? Were the issues we saw in round one, are they going to be persistent? What do y'all think?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is what you said at the top, in that we are literally we're 24 minutes, 2 quarters away from having a completely different series and it being Raptors Magic, like everyone suspected. I think the Game 7s, though, really helped to win both of those games, to win them at home and win them in front of your crowd, but to win them in the way that they did, pretty comfortably on both ends. I think is just going to feed into their confidence once again, to come into the series off of a win, which is the only way to come into a new series is off of a win. But I think with the way Jalen Duren played, I think he regained some confidence there. And then I think the supporting group that isn't Donovan Mitchell for the Cavs also gained some confidence there. These two teams were 2-2 in the series against each other, but none of the games were played with Harden and Donovan Mitchell both on the floor. So we haven't seen that matchup. In 2 games in the series, Jalen Duren scored 24 in a game, and another game he scored 33. They were 1-1 in those 2 games. He's got to score more. I think that's kind of the thing I'm looking for out of Detroit. He's got to score more. Like, he can't be, not have his high scoring game being 12 points until Game 7, where he only ends up scoring 15.
There won't be a Game 7 if that's the case.
Yeah, there just won't be. It's a guy who averaged 19 a game this season. He has to score more for this team to go far, and he should look across at Evan Mobley and Jared Allen and have 2 games where he scored 24-plus this year and say, okay, I should be able to score it, and he has to go out there and do it. I think he's the factor for the Pistons in the series. I don't think Cade's going to have any problem scoring again. Not against Donovan Mitchell and James Harden or Dennis Schroeder or Max Strus or Sam Merrill or Dean Wade, whoever the hell they put on him.
I think it's probably Dean Wade on him, but I genuinely don't know. But I think that
Jalen Tyson.
What they do.
Like,
yeah.
I don't. Whoever it is, it should be food.
2 of them.
Honestly, probably a lot of doubling, which then leans towards how does Duncan Robinson shoot the 3? Like, in Game 7, he shot poorly. He was 1 for 9 from 3, but it didn't matter. They won. If he can be if he can win the sharpshooting battle between him and Max Strus or him and Sam Merrill, then I think the Pistons would like their chances. Another thing I'm looking at, when are we going to see the James Harden stinker game?
Sure.
He had one of those in this past series against the Raptors where he had more turnovers and field goals, which Nick Wright has been kindly tracking for us. He's at 44 in his career.
At what point does that just become the James Harden?
It is.
Like,
it's a James Harden game, just like it's a Bryce Young game. So when is he going to have that? I want to see Donovan Mitchell win the battle, though, against Cade Cunningham. I think that on the Cavs side is more so. Like, I felt like I wanted to see Evan Mobley and Jared Allen just play better, and they kind of did finally in the Game 5 and Game 7. But I don't think that is necessarily going to matter as much in this series. I really just think it's going to be the battle between Cade and Donovan Mitchell. I think we're going to see another maybe 2 games in the series where we see both of them score 40-plus, which, if you don't know, Cade and Paolo, when they scored whatever it was 40-plus.
45, I think.
45-plus. That was the first time since It was the only other time in NBA history since Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray did in the bubble. I think we'll see another one of those with Donovan and Cade in the series. But I think this team is going to go as far as Donovan goes. How he plays in the clutch, how he plays in the last 5 minutes, I think they should feel like they can make the finals finally and get over that hump, which is crazy considering they're 12 minutes away from being eliminated. And I think he's got to have to step up to that bill because this is a Pistons team who doesn't have the playoff experience that Donovan does, that James does, that Max Strus does, that Jared Allen and Evan Mobley even do. They should, with their experience, feel like we should win this series, and they should win this series because the Pistons are 2 years removed from winning 14 games. They can't, even with home court, they cannot lose this series or risk a lot of consequences, I think, with the team and the roster construction.
I don't disagree about like the Donovan Mitchell thing because at the end of the day, this is very much his team. Like they brought in James Harden, but Harden has been largely content to like in bigger moments, stand on the wing and be like a swing option if Donovan Mitchell gets stuck. And it's largely been like, this is your moment, Donovan. You go get the bucket. And even in past playoff series that they haven't won, sure there's been other issues. The lights were brighter than expected. Jared Allen game, Evan Mobley not being great. But, like, he's also just had some bad moments, even thinking about, like, when he lets Halliburton grab the rebound in that one game, and the Pacers come back last year. He misses the free throws. Like, I agree, he's got to take the series by the reins and say he's the best player. Because, honestly, it seems like him and Cade are, like, right here in terms of, like, off the top of my head, like, around the 7th, 8th best player in the league. And so, like...
That's where they reflect in 2K ratings.
Yeah,
Donovan's a 95, Cade's a 94. They're both, like, 7 or 8.
Yeah. So, like, Donovan needs to come out of this series and us be like, okay, like, we love Cade. Cade's much younger than Donovan, but, like, Donovan still is better than him. Donovan still kind of has that title. So, well said. Gosh, joy. It's a joy to watch James Harden hopefully choke in the playoffs. I can't wait. Do you want to pick it?
Yeah. I can start.
Sure.
I'll go Cavs in 6.
Wow.
I think this is the series where the Pistons' youth gets to them.
I'll go next. I'll take... It's hard, man, because I really do think the Cavs are the better team. Not by a wide margin. And so while I do think they're the better team, it's like this is a team that has had just insane postseason demons. And then you add the ultimate postseason demon guy in James Harden. And I'm supposed to trust them to, like, because my gut is to say Cavs in 7. But I'm supposed to trust that.
Yeah.
That James Harden pulls up for another Game 7 deeper in the playoffs and, like, doesn't have 8 turnovers.
Hey, it's like Josh Pate says about A&M. It's not that he can't win. He just hasn't.
Sure.
So it's only been 14 years. This could be the year.
17.
17 years, thank you.
I'll go Pistons in 7. Because I just think when it comes down to it, and we're in a Game 7, and we're looking just for superstars to trade buckets, I'm much more, not the best way to say it, but much more trust Cade to, like, go get a bucket against that Cavs defense than, like, okay, Donovan Mitchell, sorry, Thompson's on you, or even, like, Cade's on you. Like, you go score. So I'll take Pistons in 7.
I'm going to take Pistons in 7 as well.
Okay.
I feel the same way. I think they're just going to end up having... I think they're going to have the better spots in the last 5 minutes of the 2 or 3 swing games in this series. And I think they'll take those 2 or 3 swing games and it end up being the defining story.
Cool. Well, this brings us to our last of 4 round 2 previews. And this one will probably be the shortest because I'll just,
Shortest
the
preview.
Thunder are only favored by 3,500 to win this series.
They're 15.5-point favorites.
Yeah. The Lakers are the 4 seed, Thunder are the 1. It doesn't really seem like Luka's coming back. And if he does come back, he's been long enough, it's hard to imagine he, like, snaps right back into form. He's not really been that kind of player in his career. And he's also just at this point become known for not being a fast healer. Like, stuff like this just kind of lingers for him. So I think it's really largely out of the question that he comes back in
Slow
this series
metabolism, slow healer.
as Luka. I mean, they're basically calling him fat, but sure. So with that being said, just no Luka really on the table. It's LeBron, AR, DeAndre Ayton, Luke Kennard, Marcus Smart, Rui,
Bronny James
Bronny James.
Jr.
Dalton Connect.
Yep. Yeah. Didn't play any, but you could argue maybe
He's
He
on
did
the
have
team.
some minutes.
maybe if it gets dire, they toss him out there against Shea, Chet. I guess I don't know the status on J-Dub. I imagine he'll probably miss the first couple games of this series. Not that I really expect it to matter. Lou Dort, Alice Caruso, Isaiah Hardenstein, A.J. Mitchell, Kenrich Williams, Cason Wallace. Like, the roster discrepancy is just
Terry
massive.
McCain.
So, I mean, I'll try and break down some X and O's. My first question is, like, do y'all think this is going to be a sweep?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm there too, and I don't want it to be, but it's just kind of how it feels, how we're going. And honestly, I think with the fact that Luka's hurt, the Lakers probably already view this postseason run like a success.
Yeah.
Like, we were not at all favored to win that Rockets series. We didn't even start the series with Luka and AR were out, but like we won the series that we were the higher seed in. We won the series that we had home court advantage in. We gave our fans some good, first round playoff basketball games at home for them to enjoy. And now we can kind of ride off into the sunset and move even more into, like, this is Luka's team era and trying to get, more pieces around him. So I don't even really know, like, how much they're really going to, like, I don't think they're going to lay down and die. I don't think LeBron's going to, like, go out like that. He'll have a couple of pretty good games. But, like, I don't expect them to, like, try anything crazy, I guess. I also expect a sweep.
Yeah, I just don't know who's going to guard Shea because Marcus Smart is 5 years removed from his Defensive Player of the Year. And I just don't think he's at the defensive prowess that he could guard Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
I think he's going to though.
He's going
to
to
try.
Because who else are you going to put on him? LeBron is the only other option, really. Maybe Jared Vanderbilt. Because if you put Luke Kennard on him, GG's.
Put AR on him,
same
GG's.
with AR, yeah. So I just don't know who's going to guard the soon-to-be 2-time defending MVP SGA in this series. I don't like the Chet Holmgren. I actually don't like the Chet Holmgren matchup against DeAndre Ayton. I think he is going to have a good series against DA, if you will. And I don't think he's going to allow the same offensive rebounding that Ayton was able to do against Şengün just because of he's faster, taller, stronger, better than Şengün. Better, maybe you could argue. That'd be an interesting argument. And then just the bench depth is just going to overwhelm the Lakers as they bring in. They have, 5 guards they can go to that are better than Luke Kennard and Marcus Smart. And A.J. Mitchell, Lou Dort, Cason Wallace, Alex Caruso, Jared McCain, Aaron Wiggins. They're 6. So Isaiah Joe.
Yeah, I mean they're
7.
chilling.
So I just don't know how the Lakers win a game outside of the Thunder kind of getting in their own way to a degree.
The path for winning, as it almost is for any like crazy upset, even just for a game, is like the Thunder can have bad 3-point shooting games where they're just kind of not hitting, and that coincides with the game where Luke Kennard like hits a couple crazy threes, and it's the game where LeBron's 3 ball is falling, and he goes 5 for 8 from 3, and even still they maybe wouldn't win that game because of I'd imagine the turnover discrepancy and even the offensive rebounding discrepancy in this matchup is going to be massive. But that's probably really the avenue for them to steal a game. This series for the Thunder really probably is just like can we see what Jalen Williams looks like coming back from yet another hamstring injury? Can we like get him going towards the tail end of the series if he is back, game 3 and 4, and if he isn't fully healthy, like no need to rush him. But I feel like that's really their swing thing for this series, which once again may not even play out on the floor, but it's just like we're a fantastic team, but for us to be at our best, we need him healthy. Sorry, Lakers. This is going to be dire.
Yeah. For on the Thunder side, what I want to see is does Coach Dagnall decide to shorten the rotation a little bit and get
Sure.
like his these are the 8 guys that
a
are going
great
to play in the Western Conference Finals, or does he continue to play where they play 12 guys average 10 or more minutes in the first round against the Suns? Does he play a full 10, 11-man rotation and just say, okay, we're going to have everybody get minutes, feel fresh, feel ready, and then we just kind of pick and choose, kind of just based off vibes and shoot around and whatnot, and maybe we would do a deep dive into our film in the 5 games against the Spurs, if it's the Spurs, and decide, okay, these are the 8 guys we're going to play once we get to the Western Conference Finals. That's something I want to see, like the inside baseball a little bit of, because I think they can afford to do that. I fully think they can afford to kind of decide, okay, we're going to just pick 8 guys, just play the 8 guys, or they could play the full 12 and, mix lineups and figure out what's going to work in the next round and in the finals. I think they have the luxury to do that. They're not going to tell themselves they can do that. I don't think in team meetings, but maybe in coach meetings that they could feel like that is something we need to decide on. Because I don't think you're going to be able to play 10 or 11 guys against the Spurs or the Timberwolves, whoever it is in the Western Conference Finals. I think you're going to have 8 guys you're going to go to. And maybe just having that 8-man lineup already set in this semifinals gives them confidence in a series already of, all right, we are the 8 guys. SGA's gotten used to, well, he's playing 35, but other guys are getting used to, instead of playing 12 minutes, I'm playing 16 minutes kind of deal.
Yeah.
That's just something I want to look at inside baseball a little bit.
I think it's a fantastic point, because you're right. Like, against the Timberwolves, Spurs, whoever they play in the finals, like the margin of error isn't big enough to be like, oh, we'll toss this guy out here, and if it doesn't really work this game, like, that's fine.
Yeah.
We can stomach a 4 or 5 minute stretch where, like, yeah, like it didn't really work out. Like, that could lose you games down the stretch. Lakers series, it wouldn't matter, but it is like wise for them to potentially start trying to trim down the lineup while they can make mistakes and can try things out. I know what we're all picking, but do we just want to pick it for tradition's sake?
Yeah.
Thunder and 4.
Thunder and 4.
Thunder and 5.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm going to take the high road.
Yeah,
I get to be the guy that believed in LeBron.
Sure.
That's fair.
All right.
For this, so now I've been wanting to do games or of some kind on this show,
Sure.
and so we're gonna try and break out. Jack introduced me to a new game called Stat Pad. I
It
don't
was
know.
only an hour 30.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. Have you played
Not
Stat
bad
Pad
at all.
games yet, JP?
Stat pad, I don't know what this is.
All right. So this is a fun one.
I know what Hoop Grids is.
We'll do. I hope to do. Start with Stat Pad, and then
And I know what the other, I know what Weddle is that you have up there, which
Yeah.
would be, I don't remember what, Larry Birdle is what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
I think I just want to start with the Stat Pads, and then we'll do the Hoop Grid. So basically, the way it's going to work, and I got it on the screen, is our goal is to find a player that meets the criteria,
Yeah.
and we are trying to find the best single season of that player, and then we'll add it to that total score. We get unlimited guesses. Well, once you find a player
okay.
that meets criteria, you're locked in. But it's not
So-
like Immaculate
If
Grid.
you guess a player that is incorrect, you don't lose that guess. If that
Heard.
makes
Yeah.
sense. But once
So-
you put in your player, it's locked.
Between 2020
Okay.
and 2025, we need the Patriot who had the most receiving yards.
So, but you do need to kind of treat it as the last one we should make sure we save for someone we know to guarantee the highest score
Yeah.
instead of it being a guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But once
That
you
makes
get
sense.
a guy in there that fits, you can't change it. Who
Yeah.
fits.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if you know this strategy, but that is a strategy for Hoop Grid specifically, where you save a guy that you know is going to be a really low score, meets the criteria, save that one, come back to it,
Yeah.
because you normally at Hoop Grids you just guess a bunch of guys.
Yep.
Correct.
So 2020 to 2025, Alabama wide receiver.
The stats came in those 5 years,
Yes, it's the
or they
it's the-
played for the team in those 5 years.
the stats came in those 5
Okay,
years.
heard.
and also played for that team.
Yeah.
So like any NFL wide receiver from Alabama between 2020 and 2025, my mind goes to Jalen Waddle. Like 2023, I believe, was their best year. That Dolphins offense
Was 2022 not better?
it was the 22-23 season, I think. Yeah. Other
One season or total over the 5 years?
one season.
Okay.
See, I'll go ahead. Actually, I'll show you how it's going to look because that'll be helpful probably. So we'll go and we'll just say Patriots wide receiver. I'm just going to type in Diggs, and we pick
Shout out
him,
to Dill Diggs, man.
and then we have to
Dig
pick
'em.
the season
Oh, okay.
that we think. We can also play easy mode where it gives us the best season for that player, but that's lame. Other Alabama wide receivers in the NFL: Calvin
Devontae
Ridley,
Smith.
Devontae Smith probably had a good year. I think Waddle had 1,300 in that 22-23 season because we used him a couple days ago for one of the answers. So we got Waddle, not Waddle. I'm just gonna.
I'll trust your gut on
Yeah, I think
Jalen
it was the
Waddle.
22-23 season.
Let's do it. We don't want to make this a 15-minute per board.
99th percentile. The top answer
Calvin
was
Ridley,
Calvin
2020.
Ridley, 2020.
Mm.
Which I knew Ridley had a great year at some point. We missed out on first place by 18 yards.
Yeah.
Was Calvin a first-round pick?
One way to find out.
I want to say no, but we can try that. Calvin Ridley 2020 it said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some good cheese here early on the board.
I want to say
Using
he wasn't.
The answers on the test to answer other questions.
He was.
was, okay.
He was a first round pick. Darnell Mooney was not a first round pick.
This is where I don't know.
Hold up. Let me-
Drake London was a first-round pick.
Drake London was a
Julio
first-round
Jones was a first-round pick. Both of them were top 10 picks.
Austin Hooper was not a first round pick, but his good fantasy year, I think he had touchdowns and maybe not yardage.
Roddy White, but I would struggle to pick which year Roddy White.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Roddy White would be my guy, personally. But
Is
he
that
may have been
RODD?
Yeah, he may have been a first-round pick.
I mean, I can plug in a year if you've got a feel, and then we can find out.
We can't change it.
Nope.
No.
Shoot.
So if you pick a year where he just happened to get hurt and had
Yeah.
played 2 games.
Yep.
Okay, so I was a season ticket holder pre-Julio Jones, 2009.
2009.
That's gonna be my guess.
First round draft
Okay,
pick.
he was a
Okay,
first-round pick. That saves us.
Okay.
Sweet.
Um,
Was Tony G a first-round pick?
I feel like he probably wasn't.
he also, I mean, was he as good at the Falcons as he was with the Chiefs?
I remember him being good, but I was also a kid, and I would also say I wouldn't say 2009. I would say 2011 or 2012.
Let's go 2011, and he was a first round pick.
Wow. Okay.
Too many first-round picks.
Yeah.
So now it's just Darnell Mooney's our best candidate.
Who was the Falcons wide receiver 4 or 5 years ago? Not Calvin Ridley.
Olamide Zaccheaus.
No.
UVA legend.
No, they had a guy who was a slot receiver, only there for a couple of years. But I feel like he cranked out some yards. But I'm not. We can also just go Darnell Mooney right here.
I think we do it
I think
right.
Darnell.
for sake of.
I'm gonna be really sad if the guy I'm thinking of pops up. It'd be this season, right?
No, I think it'd go
No.
last season.
24, 25.
I
Yeah,
or
24.
23. Which one do you want? It's not 20. He was not very good this past year.
Right.
I'll-
I know 24, 25. I traded him. No, 23, 24. I traded him for Derek Carr and he went off.
okay.
So let's go 23, 24.
Heard.
Well, that doesn't.
I
Okay.
lied. It was
So it's
24,
24.
25.
Played for Chicago.
91st percentile.
All right, the guy that I was thinking of is not up there.
Yeah, I mean, I just all old Jimbos.
Alfred
Yeah.
Jenkins, Terrence Mathis.
I don't know any of those guys.
Yeah,
Me either.
nobody since the year 2000.
I'm happy with the work we did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll take that. Miami.
This is fun.
Yeah, it is fun, and there's NBA and MLB as well, which is where Jack participates.
Yeah. This is
Miami. I mean, my mind goes. I know they're tight end.
We're just going Stephon Diggs with the Pats.
I think that's gonna be the best.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Let's
It's
toss
no
it in.
Mac Jones guy.
Yeah, no, do Stephon. Don't toss it in there. Don't toss it in there. We save it. Remember?
It doesn't matter because you
everything's
can't change
already
it.
locked in.
Everything locks in. It doesn't. You don't have to save it.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
This
Back
isn't a hoop
comps.
grid situation.
This year 25.
Yeah,
100th
top
percentile.
answer.
Other answers would have been Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, and Hunter Henry.
Not a great list there in terms of quality.
One
That
of
is
the
tough for
1,000-yard
them.
receiver.
Miami.
I mean, Michael Irving.
Michael Irvin.
Okay, I don't hate that.
No, I
Um,
mean, what season you guess? I don't
Was
know.
Olsen was out of Miami, or was he? He was a West Coast, wasn't he?
Who? Greg?
Yeah.
Xavier Restrepo.
Good pull. Good pull. That feels like that account that was like, this account names like college basketball legends that have been forgotten about, and then it named the NC State guy from 2 years ago.
The guy that we're both blanking on his name, so we obviously forgot. DJ Burns.
Yeah, it was like DJ
Yeah.
Burns, and it was like, whoa, that's a deep pull. What a deep cut. What a pull.
You know,
Let's
ball.
do Michael Irvin. I'm gonna do 1986.
Okay.
If those are, okay, we can get the years he played. Let me see the years he's
Yeah.
played. Okay, so what? Not 86.
Yeah, 86.
Close.
19. I would say
What year did the Cowboys go to the Super Bowl? Because I always just like if a team went to the Super Bowl, that's a good year for them. I try and pick that year.
maybe I was thinking 1996, 94, 95, maybe.
Okay, I'm down for that.
94,
91st
that's a good pick.
percentile. Andre Johnson.
95
year
was the
sh-
better
we were a year
year.
off.
Damn.
That's tough. That does hurt. That's the other unforgiving part is when you're off by a year, it hurts you. Or we were playing with
But that
Jackson.
was his second best year, right?
Third.
Hold up. I like
Third.
to fact check it as I'll come over here and just learn a little bit as well. I'll put it up on the other screen. His best year was 91. Or excuse me, 95 was his best year.
Oh, so we had his
91.
fifth best year.
Yeah, we
Not
were,
great.
We were down there.
But we didn't choke and get one of his years where he had
Yeah.
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 96. If we'd got 96, we'd be
Oh.
below 1K.
Oh.
So we kind of got lucky. Chicago Bears receiver.
Oh, they didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver this year.
Nope.
But it would be DJ Moore.
That's what I was thinking.
Justin Fields, it would still be DJ Moore.
I feel like it's got to be a DJ Moore season, unless I'm just forgetting someone in 2020. I mean, this has not been a good.
2020 would have
offense.
been. Is that still?
Yeah, I mean they've never had a 4,000-yard passer, so hard to have a.
2020 was Justin Fields' rookie season. When I don't think they had anybody because I think they traded for DJ Moore the next year. So I'm down to go 2021, 22.
Okay.
I think he had 2021, 2020 played for Carolina.
so
So 22, 23.
Whatever his first year was.
Okay, I was just really wrong about when they got.
But you did get there. It was his first year, and
That was the top answer too. Let's go.
When was Justin Fields drafted? Was drafted in 21 with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, the year
And
after
he
the
played
COVID.
21,
He
22
played the COVID
without
year.
him.
Mhm.
And then he played 22, 23 without him, and they finally
they got him some help.
got
And
him
it didn't
help, and then they traded him and drafted Caleb in
Yeah.
24.
But technically, DJ Moore was better with Justin Fields than he's been with Caleb. So apparently, Justin Fields is just a better quarterback. We beat 81% of other scores.
Yeah, we
so
beat
not
80,
bad.
we beat 81%. We'll take that. Let's come over to NBA, or do you want to say that for last and go MLB first?
I'm gonna have no help on MLB.
Okay, let's do. You need points per game average, not so. Sometimes it's sneaky. It'll ask you for a total stat. like total points in a season, but this we're looking for points per game.
Which average is just so much better because if a player like missed a couple weeks from a season, it doesn't hurt their average, but it hurt their total scoring output.
Which for this we're going like a Giannis season, 2015 to 2020 center.
Well,
Giannis
you're probably
would
gonna have
be
a
a s-
power forward. Do we
Miles.
think that Kevin
not
Love
Miles Turner.
listed as a center for those like couple Cavs years?
No, and I also think there's someone better. Pau Gasol is an option. Joakim Noah is an option. Brook Lopez. Andre Drummond. Blake Griffin wouldn't be a center, but Andre Drummond.
Yeah. I feel like they're just all like right around probably the same point
They are
total.
all around like 18 points a
Yeah.
game. They're all pretty safe guesses. We just have to get the year right. The Pacers, the only one is like Miles Turner, because Roy Hibbert was that would have been post Roy
yeah.
Hibbert, and Ian Mahimi wasn't a big scorer. So it's either. Well, let's see if Kevin Love is listed, and we can go. See. Oh, it's got the year to year. Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can just think of this in terms of 2Ks. 2K16. 2K15 would have been Kevin Love's first year, and 2K16, and then 2K17. So really any of those three pick, but I would pick one of the first two. So either 15 or 16 is the last year. Not six. No. Let's go with his first year there, 2014, 2015.
14, 15,
So they may not accept it because it's
It's gotta
then we'll
be-
go. Then we'll go with that one.
15, 16 was
Yeah,
not a center.
He didn't play center. Perfect.
Okay, heard. So then it's either we're picking between Brook Lopez or Andre Drummond.
Care to weigh in, Jack?
I mean, Drummond was pretty good the year Detroit was the 8th seed, which would have been, 2017, 2018? Or 2018, 2019. But he's just always been known more for rebounding than scoring, so I'm not really sure what his scoring output was.
Then let's go with Drummond.
So we're going to go Drummond 18, 19.
Yeah, I like that.
95th or 85th?
95th, top
Who's
5.
Yeah, we just didn't even think
Oh,
about
it's
it.
2020, 21 counts? That's dumb. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, because it has to count one on either side.
Okay.
Yeah, so 15, 16. It's when it says like 2020 to 2026, it's counting the
I just didn't think about that year.
The
and Vucevic
first
being
year, I
an
guess.
option.
also
First part of it.
Kevin. So weird thing. If you go over
wow.
to basketball reference, pro basketball reference,
Yeah.
he will be listed as a center, Kevin Love, some seasons and not others.
Yeah.
Which is why he
Still
does
we're better
appear
with Drummond.
top 5.
Well, we didn't guess the right Drummond year. We guessed the 5th best. Though, if they did give us that Kevin Love year, what would he have averaged?
What year did we try?
Oh, we guessed the fifth.
We
best.
guessed 15, 16. He
hear you.
averaged.
So we would have been better than K-Love.
Where is points per?
It's all the way on the right.
He
They're
averaged
really
20.
they're really dumb by it.
He
Never
averaged
mind.
16.
I was looking at the wrong year. So we would guess better than
We
regardless.
did. The Andre Drummond was better. But if
Cool.
we just kept trying with so Kevin Love
Wait,
was
one
listed
more
as
year,
a center
K-Love.
in 2017, 2018, but not in the year we guessed.
Me personally, I don't know how you guys feel. You guys played this game more. I would take a top 5.
We
Oh,
top
100%.
5 were
For a
Okay.
category like that, we take top 5.
exactly.
Cool.
If we can pull first overall, that's like arm pump. Like I was playing NFL the other day and I pulled an Alex Collins 2017 highest rushing yardage in the AFC North maybe.
I don't know who Alex Collins is.
Oh dude, I was like jumping up and down. It was
He had
electric.
about probably one season.
I think two seasons, 2016, 17 and 17, 18 I believe.
Not drafted in the first round is so horrible.
Trying to name guys who weren't drafted in the first round kind of
Especially a
sucks.
Sixer. Tyrese Maxey was a late first round pick.
Everyone was.
Was Quentin Grimes a second round pick?
No, because I felt like he was good at Houston. I feel like he was good enough.
Yeah, he just
I
Grimes
can
is
try him.
them all.
he's a good candidate
Yeah,
for last year's team. Let's just go with that. Let's see if that's. I like Quentin Grimes for last year, right?
Oh yeah, I mean this year and last year are probably pretty similar, but yeah, he was first round pick.
Okay.
You were right. I mean, I'd imagine Adem Bona wasn't a first round draft pick.
Yeah,
but
he
like that's
wasn't.
not a great actual guess. I'm just trying to think of second round draft picks at this point. Oubre was a first round draft pick.
JJ Redick, I would assume, is a first round pick.
Yeah, definitely was. Tobias Harris had to have been a first round draft pick.
Surely.
Kyle Lowry, I'm assuming, was a first round draft pick. So she's not really been good at the 76ers.
PJ Tucker, I think, was a first round pick. Joel Embiid
Ben Simmons.
was number 3 overall.
Yeah.
Or he may have been 2.
Ben Simmons was first, right? Out of LSU.
Yeah. 6'10" point guard out of LSU.
Is that that's not what they said, is it?
No,
Okay, that would have been crazy.
but he is a 6'10" point guard.
Not a shooting guard, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I mean, do we just say one of the guys you said you know is not a first round pick?
I mean, Adem Bona was not a first round pick. Almost positive on that. And you just put in this year. Now he probably averaged like 8 points, but I don't want to sit here.
Did Danny Green, do you think, get to
Ooh.
double digits? I don't feel like he was a first round pick.
I don't think he was either. This year
He
has
started
just
his
been
career at the Cavs.
tail into his career here. So I don't know what he was really doing, or if he just was maybe sitting on the bench.
Yeah, that may be a risky pick.
I mean, is that we're going either risky pick or someone that is a floor pick, basically.
Robert Covington.
I loved Robert Covington, man. Was he on the team in 2020, 2021?
Toulouse Smith.
Not
Would
a
it
Sixer.
take? Oh, yeah, he's not a Sixer. He's a Piston. I don't know why I was thinking he's a Sixer.
Same colors. Same colors.
Yeah, that's a tough choice between Danny Green and Bona. Let's go with Bona since Embiid didn't play. I think he's just going to have a higher floor than Danny Green.
Yeah.
I'm going to look up Danny Green while we do this.
Last year.
This year, right?
I would probably go this year. Last year he spent time, I think, on like the Raptors and
Alright.
stuff. So, rip.
31st percentile. Seth Curry,
Yeah.
Shake Milton, Jared Butler,
Shake.
DeAnthony Melton.
Wow, no way Seth averaged 15 a game. Are we serious?
He was like that, I guess. Bad pool.
I'm going to see if Danny Green would have been higher.
He had to have been higher than 4.8. Go look up Adem Bona. I'm curious what he averaged last year in his limited run. I don't even know like how much if he was even on the team last year, if he played for maybe the Raptors, but I think
He was
here.
not a first round
Oh,
pick.
yeah. Danny Green was 9.5 and 5.9.
Yeah.
5.8 last year from
So
Bona.
he'd been better last year. Well, we move on. This year, under 70% free throw percentage for career. Whoa.
This sucks. This category sucks. Every player you think is under 70% is not.
And in what they scored this year, which at least that part is easy because you're just thinking about players this year and what they scored. This year's most good scorers can shoot.
Just this year for the team. Okay.
Is Sabonis a bad free throw shooting center?
No, he's got to be over 70% for his career. I'd almost guarantee.
Yeah. And then it's but the highest points per game as well. I forgot about that part.
Yes. Surely John Collins is like over 70% from free throw line in his career.
Steph Curry.
Yeah, probably there, I'd imagine.
I bet Steph Curry could go 0 for the next 2,000 free throws and still be over 70%.
Maybe. Yeah, that's probably That's an interesting experiment.
I'll go find out while y'all think.
I mean, like, I bet Oso Iguodala is not a very good free throw shooter. There's no way he averaged that much, though. Surely Aiden's above 70% for his career. He has pretty good touch.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, do we think Maxime Reynaud shot over 70% from the free throw line this year?
I was gonna say him maybe or Mitch Raynow or that's who I said.
Okay. Then
Okay,
yeah.
you just pronounced it differently than I would have said.
Okay.
Over
Yeah.
70%.
Okay.
Sadly, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
But
I
he
don't
was
know
someone
why I
at
thought
least
his
was like
first
I could
name was
try.
Mitch. But Raynow, that would have been I'd like that pull.
Do we think Nate Clifford shot 70% from the free throw line? But he didn't play a ton this year. Do we just guess Oso Iguodala and see?
Did Trey Lyles shoot less than 70%? Surely not. It's a stretch big.
He barely played this year, too. He didn't even play this year.
We'd have to
from the
pick
looks
his
of it.
year too.
Well, it has to be their points this year. That's the nice part about this one. It's 2025,
Yeah, 25,
2026 points.
2026.
So it's just someone who
Oh,
scored a
okay.
decent amount of points this year that sucks at shooting free throws.
I gotcha. Good catch.
The problem is none of these teams have bigs that aren't very good free throw shooters.
Yeah, I mean, is this category like 10 people?
Yeah, it's going to be
Maybe.
very small. It's going to be a very small group.
Heard. Try your Osa Adigizara.
Oso.
He
He is bad. He has
Iguodala.
bad form. That's all I know. Not good, but Kaminga's below. That's crazy, man.
Yep. Below 70%, average 12.1 a game.
wow. I would not
A
have
lot of
also said
Warriors and
Precious
Kings.
Was,
Tough.
I mean, that's just
It's a hard
that
category.
is a tough category. I agree.
And then Rocket not drafted in the first round.
I actually have a couple good leans here. Much better than the 76ers.
That's big.
I mean, Fred VanVleet was not a second round draft pick. Also, Christian Wood was not a first round draft pick.
Yeah,
And Christian Wood was very good early 20s. Like, that would be where I would go personally.
I like both of those.
Christian
It's
Wood.
like 2020, 2021 Christian Wood.
All right.
Yeah, no one else comes top of mind immediately. I like either of those. Oh, there you go. The top
100th
one.
percentile.
Top guess.
I mean, people were like, this guy is going to be, like, the future.
I mean, you
Building
nailed the
block.
top four.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks.
You
was
were
my
all
first
over
pick
Christian
either.
Wood and Fred VanVleet. And the JP, you will learn that this blue is so satisfying when you pull it. The 100th percentile
It's a
top
great
guy.
color.
It does look sick.
I mean, it just like it tickles your brain. You're like, it's like a drug hit. You're just like, I need more.
Okay.
A dopamine hit.
Interesting.
This is a bit of a loaded group, is it not? Depending on what you categorize people as.
Yeah.
Like, towards the back end of these years, some good Kimba seasons.
John Wall.
Kimba.
Kimba.
What do we think they classify Dwayne Wade as?
Jameer Nelson.
Jameer Nelson. Who was the point guard for the Hawks in this stretch? No one good?
It would have been pre-Jeff Teague.
Yeah.
So it would have been maybe Lou Will. Could have got like Lou Will might have been characterized as a point guard.
Yeah, but he's not the best of the bunch. It's probably, and maybe John Wall season,
Yeah,
honestly.
it's either John Wall or Kimba.
I feel like Kimba's best season, I feel like was like 16,
Yeah.
16, 17. I'm not going to know the John Wall years, the only issue.
Let me think through 2Ks. Either 2K13 or 2K14. So 2012-13 or 2013-14. My
You said 13, 14?
13. Let's go with 13-14. New gen PS4.
Oh, 97th percentile.
Good stuff.
Second.
So that Kimba. Okay.
Third.
The year after, then the year before was better.
And you were right. You said that you were like six.
Kimba.
You had 16 on the brain, and it was 15-16 was
Yeah,
John
that's
Wall
just what I couldn't
or Kimball
remember.
Walker.
But I'm happy with that. And you could see this is a tougher board because like we really didn't do very well.
Still beat
We still beat
72% of players.
scores.
I'll take it.
All right, Jack.
That is
Let's
fun.
see if
Let's
you
blitz
can
the MLB one real quick.
Yeah.
stolen bases. We do not have to play this.
Well, yeah,
Sammy Sosa.
Holy moly, man!
Did he steal bases?
Probably not. He was more of a slugger.
Does PCA steal bases?
He's still some. He wouldn't be a horrible guess. Just PCA last year.
What about the black guy, Morel?
Christopher Morel, more of a slugger.
Okay.
I don't know. Like,
I'm sorry I characterized him as that, but
well, I mean, you were not wrong in your characterization. An outfielder from last year from that division that just stole a lot of bases.
stole a lot of bases last
Cleveland
year.
Indian. We're just gonna blitz this. So go Cleveland Indian, Jose Ramirez, 2018-2019.
Too late. Wait, 20. It's 1 year.
Yeah, it's just 1 year. So
2018.
You go 2018. Not great.
89th percentile.
Yeah, Kenny Lofton makes way more sense. That's what I would know.
I don't even know who that is.
Goat. That's what he did. He was, I mean, just trending older here isn't exactly a bad thing.
I don't know the new
2025.
larger bases.
Well, that's what there's a resurgence. You know, so you either probably want to guess like one of the past couple years or someone ancient.
I can just name.
Try-
I can just name infielder. Does Jacob Wilson steal bases?
I don't know.
I can name a ton of infielders.
Denzel
from this
Clark is
division,
an
though.
outfielder.
Yeah,
So, but otherwise, he would be a decent pool.
he would.
A Houston player that steals bases, I can't really think of one. Seattle player, does J.P. Crawford grab bags?
I doubt it. No way.
Yeah.
But what about who's the guy that played second for him? Not Jorge Polanco.
Who did play second for him? I don't know if I'm going to pull it.
He's a white guy.
Zach Neto plays infield for the
He does.
Angels, and he could potentially steal some bags. Was Marcus Simeon grabbing bags for the Rangers last year?
Just from body type perspective, Zach Neto feels like the best.
I'm fine to go that. I mean,
With
we're
for
not trying
me.
to sit here as long, so. It's going to be like 5. He stole 5 bags. Okay.
Oh, top
We
guess.
doubt ourselves.
Dang.
Let's go. Good
Who are the
work.
other
Good
ones?
teamwork.
Other guys: Jeremy Pena,
Josh Naylor didn't realize he
Dylan
would've grabbed
Moore
him.
was who I was thinking.
Got it.
Cal Raleigh. Wow.
Yeah.
Weird that he's an
He
infielder.
is a top.
Mhm.
Kyle Riley's top 5 is that's actually surprising.
Big get.
But Dylan Moore played for 2, and that was only in like half the season too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember him being part of the playoff roster.
And then we got a Ranger that's been going crazy.
Any fast boys on that World Series team?
Not that I can think of. Maybe Adolis Garcia was grabbing the bags, but I don't really think so. Was Carlos Beltran a base stealer back in the like early 2010s, 2000s?
Blitz it. 5 seconds. Rip one.
Did Billy Hamilton spend time there?
One way to find out.
Guess 2015.
Cincinnati 2015.
Guess 2018. Okay.
Cincinnati.
He was there a while then, I guess. Yeah, just don't sweat it. Then he must have not played there. I don't know why I can picture him in a Rangers helmet, fabricating stuff in my mind. I mean, all the best Rangers I can think of are just not like skinny,
Josh Hamilton.
fast guys. Yeah, Carlos Beltran doesn't seem like much of a base stealer. Maybe go Andrus Elvis.
Jock Peterson.
Elvis Andrews. Go like Elvis or Ian Kinsler.
Starts with a K.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is. Okay.
We have some chat
That's
help
a
for
good-
another one.
It's a good pull, Hip Hams.
What year?
Go 2012. Seems like a solid year. You grabbed 21 bags. Ellis Andrews would have been better, much better. But oh well.
He said who?
Byron
He's
Buxton.
got Byron Buxton.
I'm fine with that.
I'm very much fine with that.
It was 20. Yeah, locked
It is
in.
okay. Oh well.
96th
Not bad.
percentile. Second.
Luis Robert.
Second
I will
place.
take it.
Hip
Good pull,
Hams.
Harris.
He was all over
Harris
it.
threw that in the chat. That's his next one too. The Cubbies. Anthony Rizzo. No. Just shouting out my boy.
Rizzo.
Go like Ryan Sandberg, I think was his name. Ryne. Yeah. Just guess like something from the mid to late 80s. He played second base, so I'm like he could have grabbed some bags.
Oh.
He could grab some bags.
54.
Just 3 years before.
54 bags in a year. Eric Young Sr., former first base coach for the Braves.
Yep.
All right, good stuff there. And then next, let's run over to the
Just cap it
hoop
off with the hoop
grids and
grids.
see what we can knock out.
It's a fun board.
So I love one when it says Vegas like just played in the 2020s.
This one we do want to pick one that we save.
Yeah. A lot of playoff junk. And it's not when it says 5+ assists, it does not mean a game. It just means this
Can
dude
we,
had 5 playoff assists in his career.
No, in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He just grabbed 5 total assists in the playoffs. Correct.
Oh, throughout his career.
It's not an average.
Double check that, please.
So it'd be like, well, here's how we could double check.
Can you click
it.
on it and look? Doesn't that like if you hover over it, it won't tell you?
One playoff game. Okay.
Okay, one
makes way more
playoff.
sense.
So they're all in a game. Oh,
That
So
does
it's not
make a
an
lot more
average.
Okay,
sense
well,
than like a career total.
I was thinking average.
But even
I was thinking career total.
I was thinking like so
And we were all wrong.
If we go someone for
Because I was thinking 10+ rebounds played in 2020 is Pau Gasol as the one that could be savable.
for that one I'm thinking like even like LaMarcus Aldridge, someone that like was very much past the tail end of their career, but like played in 2020 or like 2021.
We could go
And sucked.
even deeper though now.
This is true.
Yeah, you like don't even need someone that
can-
had 10
we can
plus
just-
rebounds in the 2020s.
I mean,
We don't
Jared
have to
Dudley.
save that anymore.
25-point playoff game.
Tell me what Pau Gasol is there. Let's not even save it. Let's
Where?
just go Pau Gasol right there. You may be better off with LaMarcus in the 25-point game. Oh, he didn't play in the 2020s. I'm an idiot. Do we want to go LA though on the point game or the rebounds?
I think
You can try both and see which one he's lower in.
put him here. Put him in the points actually.
Yeah, I agree.
We can find some rando big that snagged 10 boards.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be lower in the
Can we
other
try Lance Stevenson for playing the 2020s? Had 5 assists in the playoffs.
one. Only 224
Not as
players.
many people as I thought.
Nice. It's a great start.
It's not bad. Celtics have had obviously a lot of.
They didn't have hoop grids. They didn't have to have this 5+ assists with that team. They just have to have played for
Correct.
that
Right.
team
Correct.
ever.
Right. And so, like, ideally, we think of somebody who had 25 points and then maybe played for the Celtics at the end of his career.
I don't think he ever did this, but we're going to see. Go Chris Boucher, 10-plus rebounds in the playoffs, Celtics. He did. Okay, he got 10 boards in some playoff game. And he spent like, what, half a season? I wonder how many games he played with the Celtics.
Good pull.
Kelly Olynyk. See if that's better than him. It's not gonna be, but maybe there.
Well, he had a
is.
25-point game in the playoffs, though. Because he in a game 7, he sent the.
Okay, let's do it in the 25.
Maybe
plus.
he didn't get quite 25, but he had like the game 7 against the Wizards, where he was like the Boston's leading scorer. Yeah, not as good, but he did do it. I mean, people are gonna remember a game 7 scoring outburst like that.
Yeah, Grant Williams.
Yeah, I mean, we can see if Grant Williams is better. I'm gonna make them both, but I doubt it.
I'd be shocked.
It's better.
Wow. 4 gems? Is that what they're called?
Diamond, whatever you want to call it. '76er with 10 rebounds in a playoff game. Just click on. I want to see like how many possible options there are. A lot. I mean, 10 rebounds and. Try Kyle Lowry for 5 assists in the playoffs in the 76er. It'll probably be pretty high, but it's not exactly known for his. Yeah, okay, it's actually quite high.
Go Jason Richardson instead. He didn't have a 5+, no way. Did he have a 25+ point game with the Suns?
He did. Great pull. We'll just go to the Celtics 5 assists in the playoffs and look up Anthony Simons. I'm just curious when his career started. I doubt he ever got 5 with Portland. Okay, he did.
Sweet.
Or maybe that one, yeah. Played in the 2020.
Now we're gonna save,
which we're saving that one, which is the played in 2020s and 10+ rebounds in
Yeah.
the playoffs. And I'd like to find something better than Kyle Lowry, but we just may not be able to. Well, okay, yeah, that's
Green?
exactly what I was gonna say. It's Danny Green. Try Danny Green for that spot.
How about that?
At first, my mind went to Seth Curry, and I was like, "Hey, well, actually, let's try Danny Green. Much
1%.
better. Not quite as good. Try Seth Curry.
We could try Seth.
Let's
Yeah.
see if
why
Seth ever
not?
got five.
He had some playoff games with the Blazers.
Yeah. Do we think Robert Covington ever got 10 rebounds in a playoff game?
I would imagine so.
He was there to do the dirty work.
All right.
He's too well known in these types of games, unfortunately.
Can you try Charles Barkley and just see if that somehow is below 2.21%? Well, these guys have just... It was below. Yeah, I was going to say. Well, these guys have just forgot about Charles Barkley.
Ten rebounds in the playoffs. I'm even trying to think if there's someone like... We've been thinking mainly big men, but like, is there someone that's like, is there a guard that somehow just snagged 10 for him?
I don't know, maybe PJ Tucker.
I don't hate it.
Maybe if the dot the PJ, just do Tucker. Yeah, you have to dot it. That
About the
worse?
same.
That the same?
I think it's
Oh, it's
2%,
better.
0.02% better. Big get.
Massive upgrade there.
Huge. You're from Philly, right? That was a fun bit. Shout out McBride, if you're listening.
We just have to leave it at PJ.
No. Well, there's got it. We can get a diamond.
Okay.
We 1 more minute. We can give it a diamond. Dario Sark.
Did he ever get 10 boards in a playoff game, though? He did. Wow. Great pull.
All right, no pressure, but now y'all got to play a diamond. One guess.
I've got Dirk comes top of mind, but if he's a diamond, that'd be insane.
Yeah.
Did Dirk play in the 2020s though?
No,
he
his last
didn't.
season
He
was
didn't.
Luka's rookie season.
Yeah. Forget about Dirk. Kristaps won't be a diamond.
Do we think Luke Cornett grabbed 10 when he was on the Celtics in a game?
I can try that.
I would like to try someone less recent, so I wouldn't put it yet.
Yeah, I want
But
to
it's
try
a
someone
thought.
that had the playoff game and then just happened to play in the 2020s, like we did with LA and Stevenson.
Did Joakim Noah play in the 2020s?
Nah. Wait, he might have actually.
I mean, this is a high big name guy, but Carmelo Anthony would not have been. He wasn't still good in the 2020s, but he played 1 year in the 2020s.
He was on the Lakers, though, and so, like,
Okay.
that's... I think it's a pretty good guess, but the fact he's on the Lakers scares me a little bit.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think like guys
Yeah.
from like the early 2010s.
Joakim might have.
Go Joakim.
JOA.
No.
No.
He didn't.
He played with the Clippers that last year before the bubble.
What about, like, do we think DeAndre Hunter grabbed 10 in a playoff game when he was on the Hawks?
Maybe. I'm okay with that. Unicorn. Oh,
What
way.
a snag.
Wow.
Good stuff.
Good board, but also only better than 62% because it's just an easy board. But that was fun.
That was. We can start doing
UVA legend, DeAndre Hunter.
that. UVA legend. We can start doing that more often if we want some trivia things. Cool.
Only better than 62%. That surprises me.
Yeah. Breaking news: SEC tournament will be instituting ABS for baseball.
I did see that.
Real report.
Yeah, it was
Kendall Rogers.
Kendall Rogers. Thank you. It was a real report. So
Is that going to be in the postseason?
it just says SEC tournament was what he tweeted. Or actually, I might be let me go double check his tweet.
That sounds scary.
Yeah.
Let's introduce it for.
Does sound like a
Well,
pretty
that
bad
is
time to
that is what
do
we
it.
did. I mean, that's kind of the precedent because they introduced the green bags, in the SEC tournament. The NCAA Baseball Rules Committee has approved the SEC's proposal to use experimental ABS challenges in the upcoming conference tournament. Coaches will have 3 specific ABS challenges per game in Hoover. So,
Yeah, a little scary.
yep. All right. Anything else? We done?
I think that's it. Yeah, Yeah, we can sign off, and we'll be back Thursday for. And we'll probably touch on NBA playoffs a little bit, just on what's going on in the first couple games of those series. And then I don't know what else we'll do.
Maybe more trivia.
Maybe. I wouldn't be opposed if we have time on the show.
Given
Which
that
is
we
looking
can't.
like we
yeah,
will.
about to say it looks like we will.
Looks like we will.
All right.
Thanks everyone who tuned in. Thank you to Hip Hams for hopping in the chat and giving us a big time boost on a couple stat pad categories. But we will see y'all Thursday for our next show. Peace.
See ya.